feel to it. There was another brilliant start, this time 5 straight wins before the now obligatory collapse.
Those boys may have been thumped today.
But after 4 consecutive defeats and facing stern questions about their resolve, the Roos responded with a morale-boosting win in Brisbane.
Oh yes, they found something on.
Past predictability for Melbourne had revolved around good year, bad year, but that inglorious trend appears to have been erased. Firmly entrenched in the top 4, this team's September aspirations are set.
They were an absolute cracker, wasn't it?
Can the Reverend and his disciples make their first trip to Manuka Oval a happy one? From Canberra, it's the Kangaroos versus Melbourne. It's the match of the round, exclusive to Fox Footy Sunday.
And it's a perfect afternoon in the nation's capital as we greet you from Canberra for Fox Footy Sunday, the climax of round 11, the match of the round. The Demons entering this round third at 7-3, taking on the 6th place Kangaroos with a 6-win, 4-loss record, but back in the winners' books after beating Brisbane in Brisbane last week. Great to have you with us wherever you're joining us around Australia. Clinton Gribus alongside of Wayne Carey, Gerard Healy and Wayne Schwass for this match. And the ramifications, gentlemen, are quite significant. A Kangaroos victory today, and we have a 5-way tie for second on the ladder. 5 clubs will have 7 wins for the season.
Yeah, it's a big game for both clubs. And Gerard and I were speaking before we come on air and said, look, if Melbourne are going to be a serious threat come September, they really have to win this game, Gerard?
I think so, and part of the key is their back line. They've brought Big Jack back, and he's had some good form in recent times, but today against Sav Rocker, he's just got to stand up and contain Sav to, 3 or 4 goals would be a pretty good effort.
Nathan Thompson had his best game last week at full forward. Does he move out to centre-half forward, or do they keep him at full forward? That's the big question that Dean Laidley will be asking himself.
He kicked 5 goals last week, has 18 for the season. Corey Jones bobbed up with 4, and we know what Brent Harvey can do. The midfield battle going to be intriguing.
It is. Cameron Bruce and Brad Green are good players for them, and potentially great players. They're in scintillating form. They can go forward, so they put hard tags on. They're going to take them to the goal square.
But this is where Melbourne are their best, Wayne. Green, Miller, Robertson, and then on the next line, you've got Holland and Neitz. Throw Dave in the mix as well, and Uzo.
They've got so many options, and spoke to Dean Laidley last night, and we were talking about Glenn Archer and Lee Colbert. We know what good players they are in the Kangaroo defence, but they like to play loose, they like to play off and help their fellow defenders. They have to man up on that powerful forward line.
There's the ruck division. Jeff White wants to be a pro golfer. When his football playing days are done, he's off a handicap of 3, so why not? Travis Johnston back to his classy best last week, 22 possessions and 3 goals against Richmond. There has been a late change. Jess Smith coming in for the Kangaroos. Harris is out, while for the Demons a change as well. Chris Heffernan in, and Brock McLean, who had 24 touches last week, averaging 17 possessions a game. He's out of the Melbourne side. Today we get to see 2 of the AFL's electrifying young players. The excitement machine. How about this man, Daniel Wells? 32 possessions in Brisbane last week, a key tackle, a goal as well. He was back to his best.
He was. He's had a quiet month, but last week played off the half-back flank, and Brisbane decided not to tag him. Silly move. I think he'll get tagged today. They won't let him have that sort of freedom because he's their barometer, the Kangaroos. When he's going well, and he proved that last week, he is an excitement machine.
Who's got the pace to go with him? Would it be a Whelan?
I think the only player that's got the pace to go with him is Davey, but they won't play on one another. I'm really looking forward to watching them both play, but look, they're just so quick. No one's got the pace to go with them, but whether they can shut them down.
Daniel Wells go on to Davey?
Well, exactly right. That's you could definitely do that, but I don't think we're going to see it.
Well, here he is. Excitement machine number 2. Look how quick and look how crafty. He's got great goal sense. And in this talent-laden forward line, he's kicked 16 goals for the year. He's just great to watch.
He is. He's definitely one of the more exciting players in the competition. probably this is the sort of stuff that I really like about his game, his defensive skills. Players actually come off half-back and they look around and they know they're going to be under pressure because he's just so quick.
And the red boots shining as well, and this goal last week was something special. They are some excitement machines, no doubt. Kangaroos making their way out onto the ground. It is Fox Footy and Foxtel's big day sponsoring here in the nation's capital. To tell us about the Kangaroo key playmakers, it's good afternoon to Wayne Schwass.
Yes, thanks, Clinton. The key playmakers for the Kangaroos, absolutely terrific last this afternoon, has been to bring the ball back into a stationary player like a Jeff White and free up a runner like a Brent Maloney who's prepared to carry the ball and take them on. He's been a terrific acquisition this year for the Demons. And they've got a potent forward line. They've got a number of players up there that can provide an avenue to goal this afternoon. And while we're talking on a potent forward line, they get their number one forward back this afternoon. Importantly, he's their skipper, David Neitz. He missed a week with an injury. He comes back. He'll provide another foil up forward for the Demons. He's a big presence. Expect Lee Brown to take him this afternoon. He'll have his hands full, Lee Brown, but he's got 5 other teammates that'll have their own headaches potentially, one of which, Russell Robinson. What a year he's had. Back towards his best and fairest form only a couple of years ago. When the ball hits the ground, Adam Uze, arguably one of the best players in the competition when it does hit the turf. He's a dangerous forward. And as we throw to the break, we've got a couple of other players, Brad Green and Cameron Bruce, that can provide dangerous headaches up there for the Kangaroos defenders. Cameron Bruce kicked 6 goals in 2003 against the Kangaroos. Why don't we have a look at some of his highlights?
King gets his kick. Heffernan this time finessed it beautifully. Had Uze on his not-preferred side, but he's got it to Bruce, who's kicked 5. Cameron Bruce has gone mad. This is the biggest bag of goals in his career, AFL career so far. This to put the Demons square, and he has scored 11 at the MCG, and Bruce has kicked 6.
Beautiful afternoon in the nation's capital. Fine day. We've reached our peak of 17 degrees. All in readiness. What's going to be a terrific match. Kangaroos off to the city and the left of screen. Melbourne winning the toss off to the right. Gee, there's some quality there for the Demons. White, Green, Johnston and Maloney will be the first 4 in the middle. The matchups are going to be so important.
What do you think of the new uniform, Wayne?
It looks, they look a little bit like umpires, don't they? I don't mind it, actually. It's good that they've got a different strip so that we can tell the teams apart. Looks like Nathan Thompson's actually starting at centre-half forward. We thought that Sav may go to full forward, but he doesn't feel as comfortable out there, so it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts.
And Aaron Davey has got Troy Makepeace as an opponent, so Aaron's going to have to be careful because Troy Makepeace is a great attacking backman.
He was terrific last week with 28 touches in that win in Brisbane. And they're going to start with Drew Petrie in the ruck, the Kangaroos, to go against White. Underway in the match of the round, and it's an in-the-back call. Our umpires Scott McLaren, Darren Morris and Troy Pennell wired for sound here on Fox Footy every Sunday afternoon.
And James McDonald is running with Daniel Wells.
Petrie to the broadcast side for Michael Stevens. Inside the 50, Corey Jones off balance. Whelan now, harassed by Harvey. Brown under pressure. And Nicholson heading for the line. Wisely takes it over.
We just saw Michael Stevens start on the wing. Not one Melbourne player went anywhere near him. He got the ball, sends it into the forward line. Not sure who's playing on him, but he was all on his own.
Colbert going with Robertson, as Gerard said, Makepeace on Davey, which is an interesting matchup. Ferrito with Cam Bruce. Kangaroos in attack. Johnston there being harassed by Rawlings. He'll be his shadow today. And a whistle, a free kick going Melbourne's way.
Interesting matchup also up the other end of the ground. You've got Adam Uze picked up by Glenn Archer.
Brown running away from Perkins.
Yeah, that's not a bad matchup. I think Lee Colbert on Russell Robinson would be interesting to see whether Lee can go with him because he's quite quick, as we know.
Penetrating kick from the Kangaroos. Skipper Simpson. Rocker just trying to knock it down. Bizzle. Saw plenty of it last week. 21 touches in the win against Richmond. Simpson again. Kangaroos starting with all of the possession. Thompson from 50. Goal square unguarded. He gives it a ride, but misses badly to the right-hand side. It just squeezes through for the opening score.
Well, it's pretty much one-on-one footy all over the ground, the Kangaroos and Melbourne, other than Michael Stevens at the start of the game, who was left alone.
Yeah.
They're pretty much playing man-on-man.
Kangaroos playing at this ground for the 14th time rather, 9-4, their win-loss record since their first game back here in the 98 season. It's the first time the Demons have played here at Manuka Oval. The Demons winning the only match between the two clubs last year by 3 goals at the G in round 9, but they've been really even the last 10 years, split 9-9. 4 of the last 9 decided by 7 points or less, as that ball's over for a boundary throw-in, and we can check in boundary side with Wayne Schwass.
Adam Simpson, 2 early touches. Brad Green's trying to go with him. For Wayne Carey and all the other viewers, Michael Stevens is actually trying to negate Brad Green's effect on Adam Simpson.
Wells for Sinclair. Petrie under pressure, and White rides him into the turf. Sylvia, quick hands for Johnston, boundary throw-in.
Just intrigued by the matchups in the Kangaroos' defence. I think the Colbert-Robertson one is also one where they just back Colbert's intelligence up against Robertson's athleticism, because he won't be able to go with him in the athleticism stakes.
Simpson for Harvey, the old firm hook up. Leads provided, the match being played entirely in the Kangaroos attacking half of the ground.
It's been a pretty sluggish start by Melbourne. They coming off a huge win, as are the Kangaroos, but they just haven't got near the ball.
Jones gives this one a ride. What a way to start. He kicked 4 last week against Brisbane, and the Kangaroos are doing all the attacking.
Well, they blocked it in. They've gone into the forward line. They didn't let it come out, and that's a good sign for the Kangaroos when they're putting pressure on in their forward 50, as they have for the first couple of minutes of this quarter. Very good signs.
And Drew Petrie in the middle of the ground. How have you assessed the change in roles of him as a key centre-half forward now to a bit of an everything man?
Well, they had to do something because he wasn't playing all that well at centre-half forward. He had a good year a couple of years ago, quiet last year, and they've thrown him into the ruck, and his form of late last week was pretty good. So, been a good move by Dean Laidley.
Should see Jeff White getting over the top of him pretty comfortably, though.
And he does so here, straight to Green, to Maloney. Set piece there as Bruce charging out at half forward. Davian Makepeace. Makepeace the knock away. Robertson the pickup. Neitz leads to the pocket. Robertson goes towards him. Neitz doubles back. Uze brought down in the back.
Well, he just drew that free kick, didn't he? He knew the pressure was there, basically just went with it and drew a free kick. And you know that Glenn Archer's going to give his all. He's never going to let you just pick the ball up. So, smart play by Uze.
And if there is one player who could deliberately have a shot for goal from this most acute of angles, it is Adam Uze. He runs around, opens it up, and that is perfect. That is a coaching video right there for any kid who's a left footer who wants to know how to kick goals from tight angles.
Well, you see a lot of players from those type of angles try to kick the ball around their body. They actually screw the ball. But he actually kicked it exactly how you should from there. A left footer, run around, opened up the angle, and as we know, he's a beautiful kick of the footy.
Let's check in with Wayne Schwass.
Yeah, look, I mentioned Adam Simpson being run with by Brad Green. Brad Green's an attacking type of player. It's a bit of a surprise move. James McDonald's is on the exciting Daniel Wells. Well, they've got 2 stopping players on the bench, Melbourne. One, Chris Heffernan, and the other, Simon Godfrey. I would much rather see a run with player who's used to that role, running with Adam Simpson, let Green attack.
Roos by a point. White getting first hand to it again. Petrie not knocking it out. Not knocking it out. It comes out now. Travis Johnston. Melbourne moving it nicely. McDonald. And a good grab by Neitz, the skipper. Back.
Good signs for David Neitz. He's been on the lead a couple of times, and that was beautiful use of the footy, but just tell he's getting a couple of yards on Brown.
Lee Brown destined to now be a backman for his career, where he's playing this year after a forward role last year.
Well, if you keep playing well there, you're going to get stuck. That's a mistake he made earlier.
Needs kick drifting across the face to level the scores.
It's always a good ploy to not play so well at fullback, so they never put you back there.
It's a bit like washing the dishes, isn't it? You do it well, you get it every night.
Makepeace going short. And here is Lee Colbert, turning 30 on Tuesday, a milestone birthday for Lee. A footballing milestone not too far away. His 200th coming up in a fortnight as Stevens marks on half-back. Now loose men, Rawlings has peeled off. And back for Stevens, back for Rawlings. It comes off. And Rawlings can go, or use Stevens again. He goes for Thompson, maybe the wrong option in the end. Now for Rito, they're being patient. Long ball, Shannon Grant wheeling the spoil. That's going to be a good duel. Nicholson brought down. Brutal tackle by Makepeace. Whelan under pressure. Good contest. Perkins caught by Wheatley. Rocker had it knocked away. Now Shannon Grant at half forward. Davey emerging from seemingly nowhere. Umpires letting them play today. And we'll have a boundary throw in beneath the Jack Fingleton scoreboard here at Monica Oval, the old MCG scoreboard. Demon bench, Godfrey, Johnson, Holland and Heffernan, the late replacement for Brock McLean. Chance for the Kangaroos for Rito. Wheatley of Melbourne getting there first. Harvey. Now Brown of Melbourne. A real scrap on the outer side. Ball held in. No chance.
Well, I said earlier, it's a good sign by the Kangaroos. They're not letting the ball outside that forward 50. They've really blocked the game down when it gets in that area.
And a pile driving tackle by Drew to go on with as Sinclair hurries it inside 50. Bounce eluding Grant. Jones and Rawlings. Johnston hailing the cab. Well, we're in rugby territory, Gerard.
Well, I think we're going to get plenty of it with so many close matchups through the middle of the ground.
Here's Davey, and now it can open up.
Taking on. Got the post.
Kicks to midfield. Sits up for Miller. Shannon Watt with the duty on. Brad Miller starting forward. Sinclair for Watt. Good kick. Good balance. Harvey delivering to the lead of Thompson. Perkins, rather. The mop of hair coming out, and it's Justin Perkins in his third senior game without a goal to his name, but a chance here from right half forward.
It was a good lead and good kick by Brent Harvey, but young Perkins led well, strong hands.
The question needs to be asked is how was Brent Harvey allowed to be so much on his own out on the centre wing? I think there at the moment, the rotations that they've got going in the middle of the Kangaroos have just unsettled the Demons a little bit. They don't know who's responsible for who.
And Perkins' kick is missing to the near side. His first AFL goal will have to wait. 10 minutes in, 1-2, playing 1-1. To this point, giving every indication it will be the close scrap we anticipated as Johnston goes for Maloney. Neat little sidestep around Thompson and good delivery for White.
And this is the area where Drew Petrie just has to lock down. You can't allow Jeff White to become a ruck rover.
Green the target. Stevens now Makepeace. So impressive last week, and look at the use there for Simpson. He's got Ferrito. Harvey really working hard. The handball not good for him. Opens the door for Maloney to steal. Wheatley for Brown. Melbourne's turn to run. Neat slips on his lead. Green goes wide and accepts it. 55 out.
Well, it was a costly turnover. They had control, the Kangaroos, and now the Demons are going to push forward and get a genuine shot at goal.
Nathan Brown, the man, coming off a 25 possession game in the 57-point win over the Tigers.
He's right on it here.
And it looks like Nathan Brown's got the job on Adam Simpson, and you know, a dangerous tagger is one that runs into the forward line and puts pressure on the player they're actually tagging. And you see Adam Simpson just losing a little bit of concentration there, allowing him to run into the forward 50.
Runner-up in the best and fairest last year by a vote to Jeff White. Nathan Brown kicking truly and giving Melbourne their lead.
He's an underrated player. I think last year he averaged over 20 possessions a game and led Melbourne in most areas.
And I'm not sure whether this is disciplinary or not. I suspect it is, but the skipper is being hauled from the ground, Adam Simpson. He's one of the best captains I've ever been associated with. he was brilliant as a leader in the international rules, and that is certainly sending a message from the coach.
Definitely is. Like I said, just a lapse of concentration, allowing Nathan Brown to run into the 50, but he wasn't that far away. I've seen midfielders further.
You continue to question the role of the midfielder.
I wasn't buying into that debate.
Blokes that made your career.
McDonald tied up. It squirts out to Maloney. And there's a free for Uzo. Can Melbourne's attacking forward line look at the options up there as we see the free kick again? There's Neitz, there's Davey, there's Robertson, there's Green, and Uzo might go himself from 55. And it hits the post.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, bud.
Adam Uzo with 23 goals for the season. One of those key prongs, Melbourne.
It's a great kick.
Straight down the middle for Harvey, for Archer. Suddenly across halfway, and the delivery for Jones was brilliant.
Well, that is awesome ball movement. Two magnificent kicks, one handball, a follow-up, and a genuine shot at goal if he has a crack. And often, Wayne, I reckon people who can kick this distance are better off having a decent shot if the ball lands short in the goal square or you've got a contest. But to see players continually looking for the 20-metre, 30-metre short pass just to get it turned over doesn't look all that efficient.
No breeze to speak of. Jones hooking the kick, getting the extra distance. It's a behind.
It's one of those tricky distances where if you think you can kick it, definitely go back and have a kick. What coaches don't like is when players sit at about a metre out and it gets punched through for a point. They don't actually like that.
Well, and you can understand why, but you'd be better off having it 10 metres out, so there's exactly a contest.
Right. Johnston down the middle, offhand. Sinclair will bomb it back towards the hot spot. Thompson a chance, Crummers, Grant and Harvey. Neither. It's Whelan for Maloney, for Ferguson. And Melbourne can trot out of defence, and Ferguson will use Brown. As Miller very short. Mark is paid.
Thanks, Sean. Just there. That's it.
Well, right now, Daniel Wells and Maloney are running together. They're both... Wells is running, giving him about 4 metres latitude, and at the moment, Maloney's getting plenty of touches.
Maloney with 5, Wells just 1. A good juggling mark by the classy Brad Green at half forward for the Demons.
Yeah, that's a matchup that Melbourne would like. I don't think Michael Stevens has played a lot in defence. He's better known as a wingman, and you just saw there he lost the fly to the ball, and Green was able to basically not push him under, but lead him under the ball and then just go back and take what was a pretty easy mark.
Wells is trying to get onto Maloney, and McDonald's trying to get onto Wells. I think Daniel is a little bit confused. He doesn't know whether to attack the footy to look after his man, and they've got to sort that one out.
Here's Brad Green. Tightish angle in front of a strong pocket of Demon support here in Canberra, and that's a wonderful goal. The class of the likes of Green and Uzo on display here in the nation's capital. Melbourne, after a sluggish start, lead by 11 points. Wayne Schwartz.
We talk about the skills of AFL players, Clinton. This passage of play here, in particular this kick from Paul Wheatley, it's a weighted kick, and what I mean by that, Brad Green was in the behind position behind Michael Stevens. A great finish for goal, as we know that he normally does. But the kick was to his teammates' advantage, and what it really did was it took out Michael Stevens having any hope of getting a hand or being able to support it. So for all those kids out there, that's what a well-weighted kick actually means.
White got a good run up. Bruce. Now here's Wells. Petrie. Pachoni, who started on the bench. Harvey. Awkward bounce for Petrie. Robertson, though, can't control it. Good balance by Maloney. The centering kick perfect for Wheatley. And Melbourne are on the charge. And this is where they're really dangerous. Although getting back Colbert to fill the gap. Green couldn't control it. McDonald a chance. Now Green. Back to the wing for Johnston, sacrificing real estate, maintaining possession, although it comes unstuck, and Stevens pops it up for Rawlings. And here's Harvey centering it for Thompson. Now Harding just on the ground has floated forward. They haven't picked him up yet. I don't know whether Thompson could reach him. He can't, so he goes short, and on the 50 Rawlings has taken the mark.
Well, Sab's off the ground. They've got a rotation going now. They're just starting to adjust. But they've got Ferguson on Harding, he obviously won't be able to go with him for pace, so Melbourne are going to have to adjust their structure down back.
Now, this is a perfect example of what we were talking about before, Jared. I'm not so sure that Brady Rawlings will carry the distance here. Might make a liar of me, but this might be one that sits just up at the top of the square and gets punched through from behind.
It's the one you want to have Rocker on the ground for.
From 55, holding up, 2 metres out. Melbourne punch it through from behind. Hey, you've got to be a coach, don't you?
Well, it's one of those ones that coaches don't like. If you can't kick the distance, either, like you said before, Jared, put it 15 metres out or try to kick to a leading target.
My question for you now is, will your voice hold up for the next 3 hours?
It certainly will, thanks to Brian Welsh.
Our esteemed boss, Johnston for Maloney.
Going through a few policy decisions last night, were
they were. AFL is everything and then some. Sylvia towards the wing and Colbert not paid, and it could be costly. Miller for Brown. Oh, wonderful tackle. Stevens rewarded. Advantage play on, and Sinclair drives it long. Jones is going to fly. Nicholson, the disciplined defender. Harvey, creative. Can he bounce it home? No.
just missed the handball. He was under enormous pressure, so it's not a criticism, but there was a handball over the top to Nathan Thompson. But let's have a look at this. The suggestion was that there was no mark. Well, it was very close if it wasn't, but I reckon that was the first passage of play where we've seen the game look like it's going to ignite. Just both players, both sides, I think, feeling each other out. That's the first really physical clash we've seen, and I think we're going to see a few more of them before the game's out.
This ground, dimension-wise, 2.5 metres longer than the Melbourne cricket ground, but 2.6 metres narrower. Maloney, the man running hot, 6 touches in the last 10 minutes, and Melbourne, well, they were going to run onto it, but Wells got in the way. Harding for Harvey. For Rawlings, good build-up, deserves a goal, and Rawlings delivers. Whelan claiming it was touched. He may have got a fingernail on it, but those ones are so tough to tell for the goal umpire. He was in perfect position. And you heard Scott McLaren, as you said, so hard to tell.
Yeah, we heard Matthew Whelan. I think that's probably what we've all been through at times. But in essence, you have to deviate the ball. We've all touched balls in mid-play, and you know, if the ball doesn't deviate, the umpire can't be expected to see that.
Might have got a fingernail on it.
Yeah, didn't look like it, did it?
Stephen Silvani at the MCG live on in memory. So it's Melbourne by 3 points, about to enter time on of the opening term. White for Maloney. Wells given some time. High.
It's a big vertical leap by White, isn't it? He's only off a couple of steps and he just goes straight up.
These two clubs, the lowest in terms of handballs per game in the AFL this season.
That's a good kick.
Robertson leading to space. The mark. Davey provides one lead. He goes longer. Targets Neats one out in a wrestle with Brown.
And the umpire got it right. It was a really good mark. Just enough strength in that left arm to keep Lee Brown out.
Yeah, that's fine, David.
And he ended up taking on the chest. Good kick also to put it to his position.
Well, it's what I said before, a well-weighted kick, and that's exactly what that was to David Neats. He didn't lead. He stood there, he put his hand up and said, just put it to that side, protected the space, fell onto the ball. Easy, great kick, easy mark for David Neats.
Should be a certain goal, but it's not. He misses to the near side. 2 behinds for the skipper in his return match from hamstring soreness.
It's been an amazing transition, Wayne. I remember about a decade ago you saying that you thought David Neats was the toughest centre-half back in the league to play on with Djakovic.
Isn't it amazing? And you see so many players that have gone to different positions, but he was definitely one of the better players I've played on at centre-half back. Rated him very highly, and now he's a full forward and great captain of the Melbourne Footy Club.
Kangaroo players were waiting down. Hale could not pick it up. Brown, handball stolen. Pachoni and the Roos off to the races. Jones leading out to half forward.
Jeez, that was a free.
It was very close to it.
That was interference by Bizzle before the contest.
It might not matter because Jones can play on here. Well, he wanted to use the left. Melbourne had the corridor covered. He delivers to Hale, and, well, Thompson and Hale, not much talk between them. Harding plays for the line for a throw-in.
Great play by Nicholson, wasn't it? Outnumbered 2-1. As you said, all that you needed then was one player to protect, block Nicholson, the other player to mark, but didn't work. Fantastic play by Nicholson.
6 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. Hale and White. Now Whelan tied up. And Ping. And it could be a goal for the Kangaroos.
You could just see the umpire there waiting and waiting and waiting to pay that free kick. He was bouncing around excited.
Now he says you've got to make an attempt to get it out. And it's tough work when somebody
is holding
the ball in.
Which is clever from the Kangaroos' perspective.
I still reckon we're in trouble with this rule. I don't think anybody knows what's going on.
He's made a point. I think some weeks they're hot like this and other weeks they're not so hot. And all what anyone wants is consistency.
I think this week there's been less prior opportunity given than any other week.
As long as he does that all day, I don't have a problem with it.
And now Hale, he's kicked 6 straight this year. He doesn't miss. Kangaroos back in front.
And he's been in the system for a few years now, the Kangaroos, David Hale, and he was one of their higher picks of a couple of years or a few years ago now. He's really starting to pay dividends, really starting to develop into a pretty good player.
We've got a problem if that's a free kick. Now, I'm not saying it isn't,
but it is being paid consistently this year.
But I think it is if there's a bloke given a genuine chance to get rid of it. He's been shoved in the back. He's been poleaxed on the ground. He's made the mistake of winning the football.
So what should we do at round 11? Tell the umpires to relax on it?
Well, I think we just got to look at it and say, has that bloke made the call his objective? Yes, he has. Has he been given a genuine chance to get rid of it? No, he hasn't.
So we've got to do something. Ball out to the scoreboard side with the Kangaroos 2 points to the good, and a boundary throw-in will result.
Thought I was going to have to break you two up then.
No, I'm trying to elicit from Gerard a strong reaction, and I think we got it, that we need to do something.
Straight the footy, guys, OK?
I'm agreeing with him. 2 points is the Kangaroo lead. We have enough friendly debates on a Sunday afternoon. And a scramble here, and that's going nowhere.
Is it just me, or is this game lacking a little bit of spark at the moment?
Yep.
It's almost like there's this Indian arm wrestle going on. Nobody wants to break free of the man-on-man tussles. And generally, when that happens, the game just starts to build and build and build. And it's going to be close, and there's plenty at stake. And I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. Nobody wants to give a quarter.
Yeah, the ramifications
gone.
Quite significant. Aaron Davey closes quicker, better than anybody in the game, and you don't hear him coming.
Gerard, just on the crowd, it's quite strange because they're sitting back, they're reserved. They get excited when a goal's been kicked, but apart from that, during the course of general play, there's no real involvement from the crowd.
Hope they're not looking for a refund, Wayne. They all got free tickets. Here's White, driving deep, popping it up, giving the skipper a chance, although he's got to beat 3. Waiting down is Brown. Couldn't quite get it to Uze. Perkins and Thompson covered a lot of territory there. And now Wells, will he be the man to provide the spark? Look at him go down the outer wing. He saw Davey coming, so he thought, I can't run past him. I'll kick long. Bezel about to be under pressure from Grant. Good tackle. Johnston, smooth pickup. Now Green. Gee, backed himself. And with confidence got it to Maloney. And McDonald's got space. He's called on by his forwards. And he goes to Bruce. What's his recovery like? No, Lee Brown, fantastic. Colbert, inopportune slip. Gets it away for Watt. And he's got Harding.
Just stand back to where you are.
I noticed Brent Harvey on the bench, so maybe Adam Simpson wasn't taken off for disciplinary reasons. It might have just been an orchestrated rotation.
26 minutes gone, opening term.
He does like to use the bench a lot, Dean. I think he uses the bench more than any other coach.
Right there.
Harding. Jones is one out. Wanting to use the left. And that's not 15. Rawlings going back for Makepeace, but missing him. Makepeace does well. And now Wells. Another turnover. Scrappy.
Well, he really couldn't go long to the square because there was no one there. So they just forced him to having to find short targets.
White for McDonald on the outer wing. Miller.
Always reckon the Kangaroos look better when Big Sav's in the goal square. Just gives them that long bomb target.
Waiting down the skipper. Sinclair for Archer. Stabs it to the wing. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. Harding for Sinclair. Paccioni did well to knock that on. Well,
gee, that was good skill.
His dad was a soccer player of some renown, and that was clever. Harding deep to the forward spot, and Shannon Grant used his body well.
And that's obviously what they're trying to do with Rocker off the ground. They're just trying to isolate this bloke of enormous talent to become the small full forward. And you can see why, because given one opportunity, he just read this so much better than his opponent.
He's not overly quick, Shannon Grant, but when he does play forward, he does know how to use his body very well.
And all set up because Lance Paccioni's dad was a soccer player. So the genetics have passed through the talent.
And now the Kangaroos can have 3 goals in succession close to quarter time and a chance to enjoy an 8-point lead if Shannon Grant can kick truly, and he cannot.
I was about to say, he doesn't miss too many, Shannon Grant.
Glad you didn't say it. 3-6 to 3-3.
If you had to pick a winner right now, it'd be impossible, wouldn't it?
You'd just toss a coin. It is lacking something, but we're waiting for Wells and Davey to set this game alight.
Johnston going short for Ferguson. Still time for Melbourne in this opening term. And Nathan Brown got a phone call I read in the paper today from Gerard Healy during the week saying commiserations on the injury. And at some point he rang you back and said it was Nathan Brown.
Yes, it was a very heartfelt message to the old mate Nathan Brown.
What happened there, Gerard? You got given the wrong number.
I got the producer at 3RW gave me the Nathan Brown number.
Bruce has marked it with just seconds remaining. In fact, there is the siren, so the Demons transfer arriving just in the nick of time, and now Cam Bruce can give them the lead.
Well, David Neitz mustn't have heard the siren, because the siren went and they were still leading at full forward.
Well, it's 2 big blokes to... Sorry, now it's 3-2 down there. If he's going to lob this on the line, they're going to need big David Neitz to really poleaxe them.
Bruce from just a fraction beyond the 50 hooks the kick. Will it be a score? No. Yes, it will. It did clear the line, and if you fancy today, every behind may be important. Quarter time, Fox Footy Sunday, and it's the Kangaroos by 2 points, 3-6, playing 3 goals for. And Jeff White making his way down to the rooms as David Neitz brings the team together.
Yes, he does. And look, we don't know too much more than what we started with. We've got 2 evenly matched teams. We've got a real Indian arm wrestle going on. And at some stage in the next 3 quarters, it's about to explode.
Cruise by 2 points at quarter time. Almost as you were in the opening term. After half an hour, Kangaroos by a couple of points, 3-6 to 3-4. All single goal kickers. Had Rawlings named to Hale and Jones for the Kangaroos. Brown, Green with Uze, the goal kickers for Melbourne. Possessions remarkably similar. The Kangaroos with just 3 more hand passes in the opening term. The kicks were all square. Maloney and Brown 9 touches each for Melbourne, and Sinclair with 8, the leader for the Kangaroos. Let's check in at ground level with Wayne Schwaltz.
We made mention in the preview, Clinton, about one of the real strengths of this Melbourne outfit, and that was the use of the corridor by getting a free target somewhere in the defensive end. And this passage of play really highlights that. They get the ball into the hands of Cameron Bruce, who immediately looks inside. He has a free target. Who is it? It's Jeff White. Into a runner's hand and a ball carrier. That happened to be Brent Maloney. Then a long kick up forward whilst Brad Green didn't take the mark. That's one of their strengths. The Kangaroos must restrict that run. But importantly, Jeff White went to the toilet for a pit stop, and he's back on the ground.
I'm glad you said pit. Kangaroos by a couple of points.
Well, I think he's right. It's no secret that Neil Danaher favourite saying as a coach is, if we own the corridor, we own the match, and that's why they're always going to be looking inside. And Jeff White is critical to that. He's had 6 possessions, and that's about 4 too many for the coach of the Kangaroos in Dean Laidley. Drew Petrie's had a couple. The centre clearances have been, certainly the taps have gone Jeff White's way. He just needs just a bit more out of the big man on screen.
9-4 the hit-outs in favour of White over Petrie 3 and Hale 1. Second term underway. Demons to the city end. That's the left.
Well done.
And it's Petrie right on cue, Jared. Although he slipped on the cricket pitch area here on the second effort, and he'll get another chance.
But he's locked it up, and he gets a chance for everybody now to tighten up, and he can lock arms with Jeff White if he would like to just minimise his jump, but he might continue to back himself in. I suspect he'll go the body option.
Big match this. If the Kangaroos win, 5 clubs will be 7-4 at the halfway mark, fighting for second place. If Melbourne win, they're outright second at 8-3. And Davey stands up in the tackle. White closely followed by Petrie. Ferrito getting it out, but it's going to be Melbourne to run onto it first through McDonald, and he gets a free. Might be advantage play on. Maloney for Miller, and very wide, accepting it is Bruce. And Glenn Archer frustrated as Bruce takes the mark near the boundary.
They keep using those shorter options coming into the forward line. As I said before, Glenn Archer, Lee Cole, but also Troy Makepeace, although he's on the dangerous Davey. They do like to play off and look after their fellow defenders, so you do have the opportunity to pinpoint passes coming into the forward 50.
We seem to still have this threesome going with Daniel Wells trying to get onto Maloney and McDonald tracking Daniel Wells.
Oh, that is a wonderful kick. Bruce gets his first goal. Melbourne reclaim the lead.
Well, they've kicked all the goals that one would say not necessarily high percentage kicks, but they've nailed them all today.
Shows the confidence their forwards are playing with.
And well, all the guys that have kicked the goals, mind you, are very, very good kicks to the football in Uze, Green, and then Bruce.
Yeah, this is an absolute, it's a low percentage kick shot, but he did it so magnificently. So it's back to the centre, and the Kangaroos have just got to get the next score. You don't want in a match that is so close as this to allow a club to get a couple or 3 in a row.
4 lead changes for the afternoon already. White shoveling it out. McDonald running onto it, using Travis Johnston. Oh, neat little sidestep. And through the hands of Holland it goes. Brown to mop up.
Excellent work by Brown.
Oh, Simpson slipped, recovered, marked spectacularly. Elected to play on. Rawlings, good tackle on Johnston.
No, he rolled him in the tackle, it wasn't in the back.
Yeah, well, that was one, Jared, that they paid it earlier, but not paying it on that occasion.
Well, that was acrobatics from the captain. A lot of focus on Adam Simpson this week after his scintillating performance against the Brisbane Lions last week.
And if he hadn't marked that, Dean Laidley would have sent the message down, change your boots.
It's actually been a bit of slipping just to highlight that very point. Here we go.
Right on cue. Wells going to ground. Green caught high. Advantage play on. Sylvia a little too slow, and he's gone.
Just struggling a bit today, Sylvia. He's started on Jess Sinclair, who had plenty of the footy.
What was disappointing about that, he had 2 Melbourne players around him. Neither went for the shepherd, or they didn't talk to him. They would have seen Harding coming.
Rawlings sizing up the options, chipping it on the lead. Not quite for Jones, and Melbourne should be able to clear, albeit a touch of anxiety. Now Green feeds Bizzle. And the former Cat driving it towards half forward. Uze and Archer. Neither willing to concede an inch. Rawlings, is he wanting that line? No, he kept it in very well. Simpson. Melbourne by 4 points. Thompson. Driving it deep. Harvey's got to work in amongst the land of the Giants there. Heffernan, the late call up for McLean. Whelan. Happy to run it out.
What do you reckon, Wayne? Is it time to get big Savaloy back on the ground?
Well, they're not really getting the ball that deep, so I don't think he'd make that big a difference. But the game just keeps floating along. Nothing. Well, not too much is happening, is it?
So far, it's just been oscillating in between the forward 50s. They need someone that the one-out battles in the Melbourne defence are really in the Melbourne attacking area are really intriguing. Particularly Archer versus Uzo. It's like the truck versus a sports car.
Free kick paid there for Miller.
I get the feeling that a lot of players are just not confident with the surface. They've got the wrong boots on.
I reckon you might be right. We've seen far more slipping here already than we have in most of the matches this year as Petrie delivers for Harding, and now the Kangaroos have got some space to lead into, and filling that gap, Shannon Grant gets rid of Bizzle. There's a free kick for a push, and it's going Melbourne's way.
Well, as I said before, you just saw Shannon Grant, not one of the quicker players, but tries to use his body there and give away the free kick.
Well, that to me was a side push, but...
You had the debate with Gary Lyon in our 3AW broadcast yesterday about the side push, didn't you?
Well, I would have thought that was legal, but I'm not an umpire.
No, it wasn't a free kick. Good use of the body.
Yep.
I'll mark it down for the White Wine Fever investigation with Derek Humphrey-Smith on Tuesday night as Heffernan has it on half-back. 6 minutes gone, second term. Melbourne by 4 points. Good spoil by Brown. Boundary throw-in on the wing. Maloney, the game's leading ball winner with 10 touches. Godfrey, Robertson, Ferguson and Johnson on the Demon bench for now.
Rawlings and Johnson's an interesting one. As we said in the premo, he's been taken out of the contest there.
That was an ugly wrestle. Johnston and Simpson play on the call.
Well, Simpson's being tagged himself, and so he decided to go in, take Travis Johnson out, which would allow Brady Rawlings then to be free. To me, it was a free kick against Adam Simpson.
I think there was a bit of byplay there. I think they were both hanging on, and I think it was the right decision.
Look at the number of players surrounding this. 20 players within 15 metres. Will it split? It might eventually. Harvey. And the Roos can go. Rawlings got men sweeping forward. Harvey uses Stevens. Davey was still chasing and still chasing. Stevens with a slip as well.
Well, that's a great value of Aaron Davey.
Yep.
Brent Harvey knew that it was Aaron Davey. If it was anyone else, he would have taken him on, but he got nervous and tried to dispose of it too quickly. Well done to Davey.
And White's kick, oh, that was brave then, charging out of defence by Brown because he left Neitz. And he knew if the Demons had it through Miller, it was a goal, albeit certain, for Neitz. And Brown wins out and goes wide for Archer.
Here goes the truck.
Oh, the sports car closed rapidly. But here he is, Uzo. Handball wide for Neitz. A real struggle this match. Holland getting it wide. And it's a boundary throw-in on the outer side. Possessions just on identical. Melbourne one more kick, one more handball. Marks dead level. McDonald. Sylvia swoops. Targets green, can't find him. Throwing in the forward pocket.
Great skills there by Sylvia. He was under pressure, still got his kick away, and that's all he can be asked to do under that sort of heat. Just get the ball forward. Jess Sinclair right on his hammer. Just a young kid building a big reputation.
Still just a teenager. Game number 13 for Colin Sylvia. Melbourne in attack. Makepeace providing the clearance. The bounce eludes Bruce, but not Simpson. Long towards half forward. Whelan cleverly to Johnston, back for the running Whelan. And now Bruce on the wing.
Interesting matchup in the middle now. Simpson versus Maloney.
Spoil by Watt away from Miller. Creative handball for Perkins. Quick handball for Ferrito. He ducks away. Drives long. Jones, good hands. Now, the inside 50 totally vacant. Harding's quick. He's sprinting towards the pocket. He's going to be on the end of it with Wheatley. Oh, and Wheatley with a circus catch right there.
Well, that's a good lesson for youngsters. That is a very good lesson for youngsters. Kept his eye on the ball the whole way and went back with a flight. Took what was a very timely mark.
Robertson just on for Neitz, nearly collided with each other on the transition. Such was Robbo's eagerness, where he saw the ball was looming on the wing. McDonald to Miller was a nice pass. Miller just pops it up to the hot spot and standing his ground, Makepeace. Electing to go wide, very wide for Rawlings. And now Harvey. 10 minutes second term, only one score for the quarter, a Bruce goal. Rawlings for Sinclair. Now Colbert. Demon players getting back in numbers. Makepeace in the middle. Chipping. Dangerous territory. Wheatley spoil. Maloney for Brown. For Bruce. Look out.
Good hands.
Stood up in the tackle. Got it back to Brown. Davey lurking. Oh, Colbert lunging.
Jared, you said before that they should bring Rocker back onto the ground. Nathan Thompson pushed up, got the ball on centre wing. They looked up, they didn't have a big target.
I think it's time to get the big man out there. Encourage them to kick it long. They've had a couple of opportunities now to go for that hole, and they've only got little fellas there.
Another slip. Robertson going down.
Down on the boundary line, Wade Swatch. Do you think there'll be some boot changes at half-time? Or maybe they've got the Spriggs on and she's just pretty soft.
Jared, one thing about this industry, you can be made to look very foolish. I actually mentioned I thought the ground was in great nick, moulded soles with the appropriate footwear, but it's obviously not the case. I would think that the coach's instructions at half-time, if nothing else, put your screw-ins on, boys, hold your feet. It's an absolute priority.
Play on!
Pachoni forcing a handball forward. Whelan doing well there. Harvey. And now Colbert to the members' side for Jones. Again, bereft of key targets up forward, so he squirts it back for Pachoni.
Hales push forward. Thompson's deep on Jack.
Hales' matchup at the moment was, well, Travis Johnston. Jones, though, going longer towards Grant.
Oh,
he's having a purple patch, isn't he?
He's a gun player, this bloke, and when Melbourne lost a couple of games earlier in the season, I think one against Fremantle in particular, he was absent. That is a steal and a half.
He was the best team player a couple of years ago, sixth in the best and fairest last year, and Whelan having a terrific game. Heffernan releasing wide. Uzo. Better movement now. Uzo towards Miller. Strong hands.
Turn on the call now, Michael, now! Travis Johnson off and Simon Godfrey on. So somebody's about to get their afternoon spoiled. Because the blanket is about to go on.
Here's Wells. Handball stolen by Maloney. Shrugs the tackle. Godfrey, look out. Rawlings the pressure. Demons deep in attack. Colbert brought down by Robertson fairly. And we'll have a bounce.
Tackled onto it.
There's not too much happening.
Already on the ground.
13 minutes second term. One goal, the only score this quarter.
It's going from one end of the ground to the other, and that's about it. But it's what both coaches would probably like. It's a good contest.
Holland got first hand to it. Ball trapped.
Guys, get it out if you can. That's it.
Makepeace does. Rawlings. Sinclair. That's better. Harding. Now they can go. Pachoni wants it. Should keep running. Yeah, that wasn't a good kick for Grant to the wrong side that he was leading. Nicholson for Whelan. Now Brown. Sylvia.
Interesting, both full forwards are off the ground. David Neitz and Big Savaloy. I know Nathan Thompson's down there for the Kangaroos.
Big Sav's just come onto the ground, Jared.
They're going to the ruck potentially.
Watching. Thanks, Lee. Right there.
At the moment, he's just come on and is picking up Wheatley on the wing. Godfrey with the footy. Stabbing it for Robertson. Colbert, the spoil. Now, Rocker, will he stay here and contest the ruck or head to the forward line?
I think Thompson will push up the ground and Sav will go deep. They just look as if they're one tall short in the chain.
He's a big boy, Sav, isn't he? And white's not the most flattering colour for him.
He's a big man, isn't he?
Hale knocking it down for Harding. Back for Hale. Back for Harding. Going quickly. Giving the forwards half a chance, but Bizzle is in front.
Fought back well, Bizzle. Jones got an early goal. Bizzle's had plenty of touches since.
And he's got loose men. Heffernan's got Godfrey in the middle, and he can run. He's got White leading wide. Miller's short. Options deeper. Holland waiting down. The ever-opportunist Russell Robertson. Green off the ground. We know about his soccer story. He trialled with Manchester United as a kid. And the Red Devils could have done with some stuff like that, some spark this year, couldn't they? That was terrific.
Well, really, it took something special for any one of these sides to kick a goal. Off the ground, they come into their forward 50, just not using the ball as well as they would like. They come through the midfield then with not a lot of pressure, weren't able to hit a target. But we know Brad Green, as you said, Clinton, has a bit of a soccer background, and he showed it then.
Well, big David Neitz is on the boundary line. So we're going to get some full forwards back out there, and I reckon this is what the local market want here in Canberra. They want to see the full forwards flying. They want big goals.
16 minutes have elapsed in this second quarter, and Melbourne, with the only 2 goals for the term, leading by 10 points as Godfrey goes to Green, his confidence lifting. We see the options in the left forward pocket. Robertson on the lead. Here's the kick.
Well, that's where he's going to exploit Lee Colbert. That's when the space is provided. Colbert's had a good quarter, but now Russell Robertson can spoil the party for him.
And Neitz on for Green, who delivered this ball just where Robertson was leading.
There's a matchup that I'm sure Melbourne liked. Michael Stevens on Green, but he's come off for a rest. I would have thought that they would have kept that going for a bit longer. It's that interchange, Jared, you were talking about, taking the better players off when they're in form, putting someone else on.
Notice Glenn Archer spoke about it as a current day player.
He did.
He doesn't like it.
Robertson's kick is into the post.
Maloney off, Green back on. Well, Duck, you've got your way. Didn't take long.
It was only a little rest. And there's his opponent coming off now, Michael Stevens.
Fox Footy Sunday with you from the nation's capital. 17 minutes gone in the second term. Melbourne by 11 points. Good news is we've got a close one on Fox Footy Sunday.
You've been calling for the close one, Clinton, for a while now. Lift it.
Pachoni for Archer. Now the Kangaroos can run. Sinclair through the middle. Well, just drops it off for Simpson. You'll be credited with a kick. Pachoni's kick is smothered. This is danger now for the Roos. Melbourne with plenty of numbers. You sense a goal coming up. Streaking forward, Neitz can pick which option he wants. Well, and he goes over the head of Davey. He had Holland in the goal square. Davey short. White going forward, who's got his arms outstretched, saying, "Why didn't you kick it to me?"
Kangaroos, Wayne, I reckon they're just down on energy at the present time, and if it continues like this, Melbourne's extra options up forward, it inevitably will make them win the game. They've just got to start applying a bit more midfield energy to it.
They do, but Melbourne have not used the ball at all well. Coming into their forward 50.
It's been a scoreless 18 minutes of this second quarter for the Roos. The wall set up. Green. Can he dob it from 50? No. Hooking the kick for a behind.
Just looking down the list for a bloke he'd stick into the middle to maybe energise the rest of his teammates. I'd get Archer up into the fray. Let him belt some bodies and create some mayhem there and drive a few of his teammates to higher levels than they're at the present time.
The problem is there's not too many ball-ups in the middle of the ground after a goal because there's none being kicked.
Melbourne conceding the short kick in wide. Sinclair moving it on for Rawlings. Back for Jess. Here's Thompson slipping into it.
This surface, I think, is as much to do with the lack of intensity as anything. The players are just not attacking the ball with any confidence.
Archer.
Here we go.
Charging out of defence.
It's raw, but
Jones.
it's Hanson.
Now, he's got the big fella back in the square. He leads now. Jones turns it down. Rocker doubles back. Into the pocket, and Shannon Grant hangs on.
That's class. That is pure class. He was gone for all money then, Shannon Grant, and just made something out of nothing.
That was a beautiful kick. That's where he wanted it. Once again, just led Whelan under the ball and then able to go back with the one hand. And he does this week.
Started with a truck. He came charging through. It was just raw, but it got them going.
He does this week in, week out, Shannon Grant. He won, I think, 2 or 3 games early on in the year off his own boot by doing this exact thing in the forward 50. And
I think one against the Swans at this very ground.
Dean Laidley's using him very well through the midfield, but predominantly forward.
And his kick, though, is not good, and it's through for a behind.
And unlike Shannon, he usually nails them.
Yep, once again, I won't harp on it anymore, but I reckon the surface gave way under his foot there.
Time on, second term, 11 points is Melbourne's lead. Travis Johnston electing to chip it to himself. And use Bizzle.
How'd you like to be on the end of Travis Johnston's kicks? They're centimetre perfect to borrow a line from a well-known Western Australian.
He rarely wastes it.
Kick it now, Clint. Play on, play on, play on.
Bizzle just popping it up. Good run by Hale. Heffernan caught. Hale. Oh, Travis Johnston did well. In the path of Brown. Shirks at nothing. Davey now. Will he provide the spark? Deft chip kick. Perfect for Godfrey. Miller. Godfrey kept on running. Miller to go himself. Drives it long from 49 and misses to the left-hand side.
Well, once again, Melbourne come through the midfield without too much pressure and not able to hit a target or use the football properly.
5-7 plays 3-7.
They're wasting some opportunities.
And that's the way Dean Laidley likes it. Likes to strangle it. Likes to get hold of it. And then fire up and then unleash the demons.
Harding has come on for Simpson as the kick goes to Sinclair deep in the back pocket.
Well, you just get the feeling if the Kangaroos kick the next goal, they've actually done quite well because Melbourne have dominated coming through the midfield. They've not had as much pressure coming through. They've just wasted all their opportunities. So if the Kangaroos get the next goal,
they'd be happy at half-time.
They would be very happy.
Archer charging out of defence and going wide. Thompson just subtly helped underneath it by a clever Ferguson. 2 goals the difference. Melbourne in front. Couple of minutes from half-time. Godfrey. Archer with courage back into the pack. Superfluous to say Courage and Archer in the same sentence where he's renowned for it. Heffernan thumping it to the goal square. Holland getting back. And the end result is it's through for a behind.
Just that last kick. The long kick to centre-half forward isn't working for the Kangaroos. It looks like they need to get another possession or run it through the middle and get it in over that wall there or over that gap into the goal square area. Inside 20s, if there was such a stat, I reckon to be almost 0 for the Kangaroos this quarter.
Yeah.
Inside 50 stats, rubbish. I don't think it tells you a lot about the game, but you're right, Jared. If you had inside 20, it'll tell you a lot more about how a side's going.
Almost donuts for the Kangaroos.
Yeah. Well, the inside 50s, believe it or not, the Kangaroos are in front today.
And that just goes
which
to show
reinforces your message, yeah. Hale, well done. Harding a chance. Can he get it in front of Sinclair? He can. He's got Grant or Paccioni. Sinclair got Cannon into, and Johnson was to mop up to Johnston.
Oh, he wasn't big.
Oh, he split the middle to get Brown. His kick smothered. Plenty of white uniforms in the middle. Wells
has not had an influence. He's got one handball. Archer's starting to work off half-back.
I tell you what, that truck is beginning to get into top gear. Jones has got Rocker leading wide, now doubling back. He elects to go to Thompson. And Nathan Thompson, who's been starved of opportunities in this second quarter, can now line up for his first goal of the game and to get the Kangaroos back to a single-figure deficit.
And we see here Shep probably should have been a free kick, Jared. High contact.
Yeah, it looked high to me. Daniel Wells is the man they've got to find some space. He had 9 possessions, but he hasn't had an influence on the game. Whether or not you stick him up in the goal square and let him just be a small forward or put him in defence to run off the back like an archer.
It's a goal. It's a goal. It's just got there. Thompson gets his first. The Roos get one late in the half. And with just centimetres to spare.
Well, it's been a quarter that Melbourne have come through the midfield with a lot of ease at times and just haven't delivered the ball well. The Kangaroos haven't been able to get it really past the 50, and on this occasion takes a nice kick by Thompson on 50. They're really struggling to get it in deep, but as I said, they'd be pretty happy with where they sit at this point in time, considering Melbourne have dominated the quarter.
It's a great kick by Nathan Thompson. We saw in that last replay, even the umpires are slipping over here, so I know they would have been concerned about the turf wicket. They don't want the injuries on a really hard-baked wicket, but it is treacherous in there.
Petrie getting first hand to it against Johnson. Wells. Good tackle, Travis Johnston. Melbourne by just 7 points. Here's Heffernan.
Yeah, it's treacherous there. McDonald. Brent Harvey didn't want to change direction.
And now Kangaroos.
Well, they've just got to change their boots. You can't blame the oval. The guys should be wearing screw-ins.
It seems a pretty simple formula.
It does, and I'm pretty sure both coaches will be telling them to put the screw-ins on at half-time. I just hope all the players bought them.
Half-time has arrived.
That's the siren.
I'm saying I think that's the siren. Either that or a truck heading past Monica Oval has just caused chaos with this football match. Kangaroos, an important kick. The lead currently 7. Make it 13. Their set shot goal kicking has been superb in the first half, and it's been the backbone of their 13-point lead at halftime, 6-8 to 4-7.
And as I said, I think the Kangaroos will go in half-time quite happy with where they sit, because Melbourne really did get on top, and it's taken a couple of nice kicks by Bruce and also Green to actually, well, Green off the ground, but a lot of wasted opportunities in that quarter by Melbourne. They'll have to use the ball a lot better if they're to beat this Kangaroo outfit in the second half.
6-8 plays 4 goals 7 at half-time in what is a critical match to close out round 11. A lot to talk about. Back in a moment. Demons by 13 points.
Well, it's finally good to see the boot starters for the respective sides actually doing some work now. They've got their hands full. The players are having their own battles, keeping their footing out here on the surface here at Monica Oval. But 2 players in particular that I've been impressed with, and I tend to say this a bit when I see them both play. One, firstly, is Aaron Davey. He is an absolute excitement machine. It's not so much what he does with the ball. This passage of play, I absolutely love seeing this component of our game. It's the defensive side, the pressure. As it turns out, his hard work turns the ball over and the Demons go forward. But over the other side, the Kenworth, Glenn Archer, I love every game I see play of this man. His attack on the football, his ruthlessness, and it belies his age. He's out there playing great football, and there's no better player to spark this side, as Gerard Healy said in that second term. Hard at the football, getting it with great delivery. He's one of the outstanding leaders for many years of this football club, and if they're to come across the line this afternoon and beat the Demons in hopefully a thrilling second half, they'll need that man to certainly fire.
He's 32, which would put him in the classic Kenworth category. Thanks, Wayne Schwass.
Well,
watching things boundary side.
The disappointing news is the truck's going down the back half.
He will provide the drive from defence, perhaps, with Melbourne leading by 13 points, 6-8 to 4-7.
He can probably pinch hit in the midfield, but I don't think he can run with this Melbourne midfield. They are very good in there. Glenn Archer could definitely go into the middle and give them a bit of toughness out of the centre, but I just don't think he's got the engine to run with this particular midfield. There are some, though, but there are some midfields that he could, but I don't think this one.
Is this the final year of Glenn Archer's illustrious career, in your opinion? He has said that he's not sure whether or not he'll play next year.
Well, I think it'll come down to whether the club want him to, and the way he's been going this year, I'm sure at this stage of the year they'll probably say play on.
Well, this is going to be a terrific second half. Stakes high. Melbourne by 13 points, playing for second. Roos playing for a share of it. Demons to the right of screen, and we're underway with Simpson squeezing the kick out towards the wing, and Rawlings will lead the foot race. Well, look out, Petrie, because Davies closing fast.
Well, it's good work by Petrie, though, because he just established himself as an option. He's got to rack up some possessions.
Farito. Good ball for Makepeace. Closes to 55. Oh, good smother by White. Now Shannon Grant in a den of demons. And he doesn't knock it out. He's gone.
Both on it. 2 North blokes holding in. Ready, your kick. Let him go.
Seemed a fairly clear-cut call for Scott McLaren.
Go and take your kick. Give him the ball now, Shannon.
Well, I think the umpires are right when they penalise the side if it's held in by 2 people of the same club. And Scott McLaren was right on the ball. Travis Johnson had plenty of it in the first half. His delivery's superb. 9 possessions. He's probably just a touch under his average for the season.
Here's Maloney with his 13th use of the football, dropping short for Green, who makes Makepeace earn it. Miller, in fact.
Let him go. Let him go.
And we saw on that occasion the Kangaroos getting their whole side in the back 50. There was a mini flood going there, and then as Makepeace marked it, they all shuffled back to their respective positions. So it's obviously something Dean Laidley's going to try in this quarter. Get numbers back.
Now Makepeace devoid of options. Really no one presenting for him, so got it on to Smith, who shovels it inside the 50. Awkward bounce for Johnston, but had time. Uses Maloney. Down the corridor he runs, kicking long towards centre half forward, over the head of Bruce. White jumpers back. Oh, Sinclair's option, questionable. His second effort, terrific. And third effort, and he wins a free kick. Plays on for Stevens. Wide to half back on the outer side, and now here's Smith.
Having a game, Jess Sinclair, you've got to pay credit for the effort he's put in. He's getting plenty of touches. He's followed up an error there and still made good.
It's as though the Roos have had some strong words from Dean Laidley at half-time. A fair degree of commitment about the way they've opened. Can Wells provide the polish? The delivery inside 50, leap from Harding, and then goes to ground.
Just got to stick those. I mean, that's just bread and butter stuff for forward.
Nicholson for Bizzle. Now Bruce at halfback. White gone. Sinclair the steal. That's a touch ball for Grant. He gets it away, and Smith, in his first year of senior footy, high one to the goal square. Melbourne with numbers spoil one another. They don't want to concede a behind, and Ferguson plays for the line. Looks a clever kick, and is.
Well, the Canberra Raiders would be very happy with that kick for touch.
Yeah, he did enough with it not to draw the penalty. The Kangaroos are pressing. They've brought some energy here. Played twice.
Yeah, just for as courageous as Ryan Ferguson is, he's got to have better awareness of his teammates there. He actually spoilt Clint Bizzle. They were fortunate to get away from it. Not trying to get away from his courage, but have better awareness.
Good hands. Maloney, Bruce, Johnston. Wells closing. Johnston under some pressure late. Heard the roar of the crowd in the grandstand. Green for Johnston. Good ball. Robertson. White. Question of accuracy now. Makepeace closes. Puts Robertson under pressure. He gets the goal anyway.
Well, that was a fantastic kick under pressure, wasn't it? His space was being closed down. He's got his foot to it, and really got some good distance for a guy under that sort of pressure. But we know he does the impossible sometimes, and this was one of those occasions I would have thought got knocked off the ball.
Well, we'll get a good close look at it. I wonder whether Troy Makepeace should have gone to smother. Maybe that was a better option. He still allowed the kick to come out, and Russell Robertson, as you have well pointed out, Wayne, given opportunity, he will produce the unpredictable.
Melbourne with 4 of the last 5 goals, and they've now opened up the biggest lead of the afternoon.
Good late, play on.
Rawlings for Petrie. Maloney the smother. Farito for Simpson. And Jones with a step on Bizzle.
Last 3 minutes have probably just been a little microcosm of this whole match. The Kangaroos went in about 3 times. Haven't got the forward structure to be able to capitalise on it, or the midfield to pinpoint it. Melbourne went forward once, goal.
And enhancing that, the statistics, 30 inside 50s, the Kangaroos, just 25 for Melbourne. So for every entry inside 50, they're averaging, well, just on 1 behind per entry inside 50. Not a good return. They're deep in attack again, though. And it's McDonald under pressure. Look out, he's got to knock it out. And no chance, a bounce.
What would Andrew Demetriou be thinking about this match in Canberra? We'll ask him one day.
Grant. He enjoys Fox Footy Sunday, he told us. Petrie, high one to the goal square. Thompson in a wrestle. Ball held through for a behind. 7-8, plays 4-8.
Well, you just get the feeling now that the Kangaroos have to kick the next goal.
Yep.
If they don't, they're in a little bit of trouble. Melbourne have really held them up. And if they get the next one, could be almost good night Irene for the Kangaroos.
Nice touch. Sinclair to Simpson. Long ball over the head of Thompson, though. Well read by Alistair Nicholson.
You can't blame Thompson with that. That's just a poor kick. Coming in, it had to be in front. In the end, it favoured the opposition.
Heffernan for Brown. A bounce. And going. And still going. Gee, ran a long way. And a third bounce. It won't come back. Robertson, they've played themselves into trouble. Simpson is tied up. Colbert now with a chance for Petrie.
Almost in slow motion, the boys.
Important ball to be won on the wing, and it's taken by Wheatley. Now Maloney. Going direct this time inside 50. Davey lurking. Dangerous. Oh, great stuff, wasn't it? Then Archer charging through, finding Petrie. And now the Roos are on the counter-attack. Makepeace to Rawlings. Harvey. No, didn't reach him. Whelan. Poor entry going forward, the Roos.
Yeah, their kicking has just let them down, the Kangaroos. It's impossible for a forward to, I guess, lead confidently because the entries in are poor.
White finding Davey.
Sure what's wrong with Brent Harvey, but he doesn't look quite right to me.
From beyond the 50, Davey going deep. Robertson is paid the mark. Well, that was a big question mark there as to whether or not he had total control as the ball crossed the line. He elected to not allow it to go through for a goal. It will be a certain goal now for Robertson. Melbourne are leading by 4 goals.
Yes, and we heard the Kangaroo players there not too happy with the decision.
He has to have complete control as it crosses the line. He can't bobble the mark, otherwise it will be a behind.
Terrific passage of play here with the Melbourne side again. Always looking for a person inside the corridor. Jeff White again gets it out to Aaron Davies. Well, it could have gone through for a goal if Russell Robinson didn't decide to take the mark, but I think you're right, Clinton. That's a dubious decision. Did he have control? Well, on this occasion, the umpire thought so.
Well, I reckon to be fair to the umpires, he did.
Did pay that.
And Scott McLaren did the right thing. He asked the goal umpire. The goal umpire was the one who gave him the mail, and that's just good umpiring.
5 of the last 6 goals now going Melbourne's way. Archer in the middle.
Got your wish, Jared.
Delivering towards Jones, but Bizzle gliding through and taking the mark.
Well, they've got to change something, the Kangaroos, otherwise they're just going to go along the same path. They've kicked 4 goals in a match. It's just not a winning formula.
We saw the Tigers at the G against West Coast turn things around after a 3-goal first half. They finished up kicking 15. Can the Roos turn things around in attack here? Not if they handball to the opposition. And it could hurt them on the way back as Bruce goes long from 50. Just hooks the kick.
I mean, a strangler side is one option, but you're not going to strangle Melbourne. They've got too many forward options. they're going to get their 6 or 8 goal kickers to win the match. Right now, the Kangaroos have had 3, 4 goal kickers, all singles, and yet they don't look like you don't know where the Kangaroos are going to get their next goal from.
No, that's right. Last week, Nathan Thompson, also Corey Jones, having good games, but really have struggled to get into the game.
It is a labour-intensive afternoon for the Kangaroos. There's a free kick. Jones will take it too far out to score.
Maloney and Archer are in the middle together.
Wait for the call.
Jones waiting for something to present. Nothing has, so may have to bomb it long in the Thompson direction, although White is patrolling there, and you'd assume have an easy knock away. Let's see. There's the long ball. White will try and fly himself, but he's given away a free, and Thompson will have a kick at goal.
Well, he's in the perfect position to pay this, the umpire. He saw a good view of it. Russell Robinson does this quite a bit. Often the free kicks aren't paid, but he definitely used his hand to get up. You see there, the hand on the shoulder. That's a free kick. Not allowed to put your hand on the shoulder, Jared.
Tell Warwick Capper.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think you are. We've had this discussion before, and I think Jeff Gushin said as long as there's not downward pressure.
Well, there was downward pressure on that one. I think that's a free kick, and very well spotted by the umpire, because often they go unnoticed.
Simply has to be a goal. 25 points adrift. Midway in the third quarter, Thompson should kick it, and does.
It was the goal that Kangaroos needed. He's slipping away from them, so...
They hang on, don't they?
They do.
Raining goals here. We've had 2 in a minute.
The match day raffle has been drawn. Ticket number 6681.
He may have pushed him out more with his knee than anything else, but decision's been paid, and the umpire all over that one. And right now we've got Drew Petrie on the bench. Hasn't really worked for Drew Petrie. They've put Nathan Thompson into the ruck, and I think this is a good move. They've got to free it up. They've got to just change the chemistry a little bit in the middle of the ground, because it's just not working.
We just saw David Neitz. He's on the bench at the moment doing some strides around the boundary, so whether the hammies pulled up a little bit tight, I'm not too sure, but he was definitely doing some strides around the boundary line.
Kangaroos staying in touch. Thompson to contest with Johnson in the middle now, and good effort from Johnson. Godfrey going wide. Sylvia working hard, but a little bit of toe there shown by Watt from the opposite direction to force a boundary throw in. Wayne Swice at ground level as you get a touch. Your assessment?
Well, I think it's really highlighted the depth of this Melbourne side. You've got Neitz, White, Johnson and Maloney on the bench, and I think that just highlights the depth and number of options that Melbourne have at the moment.
McDonald, well, he copped an accidental one to the face there. And it's over for a boundary throw-in. And McDonald, a little proppy.
I think we just saw why Nathan Thompson hasn't been using the ruck all that often. I don't think he's come to grips too much with his centre square situation. He didn't have his eyes on the ball for a split second in there.
Davey, Makepeace. Good tackle, good contest. Simpson forced it out. Johnson in the way, and the kick's out on the full. So the Roos will get it at half-back, 11 minutes and change remaining in the third quarter. On what has been a struggle of an afternoon for these two, to this point, high-scoring teams. Fourth senior game for Jess Smith, father-son selection.
Geez, he looks like an athlete.
And he can carry it and kick long. Hey, that's something. And now Wells can go. And deliver for Rocker, but over his head. Big Sav was charging out after it. Ferguson for Bruce. Oh, dangerous. Whelan under pressure. Bounce important here. Brown about to be collared. Missed Bizzle. Jones, though, couldn't go with it. And Melbourne dodge a bullet there.
And in a low-scoring game, if he can just find a rich vein of form for 5 minutes, he can be right back in it.
Rocker leaps. Crashes the pack. Jones, was he held? Play on the call. Brown. A wobbly, awkward kick to mark. Good spoil from behind. Here's Heffernan now. Hurrying it to half forward. Kangaroos have numbers. Smith. Balance. Poise. And now Brown.
And all of a sudden, the inclusion of Smith has seen some run out of the defensive area.
It's that spark, isn't it? Uze tumbles it forward. Speaking of sparks, watch out. Davey, brilliant stuff! Oh, what a remarkable goal! Aaron Davey conjuring something out of seemingly nothing.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal kick. It looked like he got it right on the point of the ball. It didn't look like a pure kick, but speaking of kicks, this is why Dean Laley will be filthy. They just continued to turn the ball over, the Kangaroos. And have a look at this for a conversion. It was a woomer banger. It went anywhere and everywhere.
A woomer banger.
That was the Ron Barassi terminology for any ball that was a mongrel like that and floated 4 different ways.
And Daniel Wells coming off the ground. I'm not sure whether it was because he went for that ball one-handed. Might be a disciplinary thing.
That was, in fact, a classic example of the woomer banger. Barassi will be sitting at home absolutely delighted that the nation's capital has seen one.
Miller working so hard to get in there, got rid of his own teammate. Another turnover, the foot skills letting them down. McDonald, long ball. Robertson. Well, he'll have to try and get it to Holland.
That's a free kick.
It's play on the call, and Colbert with a misfire.
She's having a bad 2 minutes, the Kangaroos.
Perkins. Heffernan. Under pressure. Gee, he had Green pleading for it 20 metres from goal. Didn't see him.
Well, Lee Colbert, there's a fresh air. Mark your scorecard. And at the other end of the ground, well, only 25 metres ago, Troy Makepeace collided with Leroy Brown, who's up and firing again.
Here he is, kicking towards the wing. Hasn't been an entirely pretty last 5 minutes. Brown playing for the boundary line. Well done. 26 points, the Demon lead. 8:51 remaining. Neitz and White joined by Johnston and Maloney on the Demon bench. And it's Godfrey to contest that short boundary throw-in with Simpson.
It wasn't one of the better throw-ins. The ruckmen were about 5 metres off that one. They couldn't get to it.
And Johnston back on now for Uze. Bottom of your screen.
Now the pressure right on this boundary umpire, and he looks like he could do with a good feed.
We saw them warming up beforehand. They have a fairly rigorous training procedure before a game. That's a good one. Well, it's better. Thompson down. Ferrito now. They've got runners. The overlap was on. Harding's quick. Now, Paccioni provides a good shepherd, so Harding can go. Goal square's unguarded. He bombs from 55, and it will bounce. Not the Kangaroos' way today.
I was going to say, if there's one criticism of Lee Harding, it is his finishing skills. He gets a lot of shot at goals and doesn't finish. That was just bad luck. If that ball bounces straight, it goes through for a goal.
Oh, dear. Johnston for Wheatley.
Hasn't been given too many opportunities this year, Lee Harding. He's only come back in the last couple of weeks.
Still really battling to secure his spot in the 22, isn't he? It's just his 4th game for the year.
Jack.
Oh, Jack's gone. Play on advantage here, Roos. No advantage, and in the end, a good result. So we'll come back to Corey Jones. You fancy probably 2 or 3 metres too far.
Some players just aren't built for the possession game. And I reckon Jack's one of them. Just better off keeping it on the straight and narrow. Take a mark, go back and kick it long.
Just didn't have the awareness around him.
Now, Wells has just come on. He should keep running here and call for it from Jones. You see Wells on the left. No, Jones is going to drive it long to a circumspect option, really, because Green was the loose man back there.
He's a handy player to have, Brad Green, either forward, back or through the midfield.
And now Paul Johnson, who played a game at the Eagles, playing his 3rd game for Melbourne today, and that's over for a boundary throw-in.
And it's a real good chance now for Paul Johnson to have a good hit out in this 3rd quarter. They've got Jeff White off the ground. He's resting up. He does a hell of a lot of work, does Jeffrey White, and they're going to need other options to get through a 22-game season and finals.
Maloney with a high ball towards the wing. Perkins, pressure on Godfrey. Sinclair caught high. Still winning enough of the possession, the Kangaroos. Just not using it effectively.
Well, they've got Daniel Wells deep now, and I think that's a good option. He's just, he hasn't had an impact, so put him in the goal square or get him into that forward 50 so he can create some magic.
What?
He's got to make sure his work rate's up to it, though, because at the moment, I think he's just coasting.
And that's why I was surprised he didn't work harder to get the pass off from Jones when he came on. Rawlings. Now Harding. He just can't bomb it long because Melbourne have got numbers back, you see there. So this is where the Kangaroos have numbers. Smith misses Colbert, but he can steady now, go short.
They just haven't been able to work out a way to get through this flood.
Yeah, well, it's Melbourne now that have got the numbers back.
And man in front will always be paid that mark. Johnston's got it. 25 points, Melbourne's lead. Simpson back on 4 for Rito as Johnston goes to Miller on the wing. And the Melbourne forwards now on the rebound have got space to lead into. Godfrey at half forward. Davey waiting back with Bruce. About to lead. Davey goes. Godfrey goes to he and Bruce. And it's Bruce! And we know he can kick the goal from this tight angle.
Just a little nudge from behind from Cameron to Bruce. Umpire saw it, elected to allow it, and he gets a shot at goal.
And has kicked 2 goals too this afternoon. 13-9 for the season for the one-time Brownlow medal favourite. Started the year at 100-1, came into 7-1 favourite before the injury. And this kick just fading away for a behind.
Michael Stevens off the ground.
A good experience for Jesse Smith playing on Bruce. Just actually a very good player, as you're saying, Clinton. Brownlow medal favourite early in the year, so be a good learning curve for him.
Good mark by Miller. Sets up Brown. A bounce to 55. Delivers to Robertson. Just looking too easy for Melbourne now. And with 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, this a chance to extend the lead beyond 5 goals.
Well, when you have that sort of time coming through the midfield, as we see Brown there, really you didn't have to lead. Robertson stood there. He feigned as if he was going back to the goal square, come back, and a good kick. It's just too easy when it comes through without pressure.
Robertson for his 3rd goal this quarter. Melbourne in control now. Grim faces in the Kangaroo coach's box. 4 goals to 1 this term after it was 3-1 in the second.
Danger signs for the Kangaroos. This game's slipping away from them very, very quickly.
Well, they just can't score, can they? They have been unable to score. They've had the ball in their forward 50 plenty of times, and when you give it back like that, Daniel Wells burst out from full back and had plenty of space, wasn't under pressure, and he delivered it to 2 Melbourne players.
They've got a 4-man forward line at the moment. Pachoni, Harding, Hale and Jones. Is that enough?
Well, right now, they need about 12 down there because they can't get it, they cannot score.
So Melbourne with loose men back, they send it inside 50, but Makepeace is leaping to take a nice mark.
Last week, Daniel Wells was given a job in defence for the Kangaroos. He was best on ground with 35 possessions. Are you surprised that he's not there now?
Well, he was paid no respect last week. The Brisbane Lions really just let him do what he wanted to do. Whereas today, they haven't allowed him to do that.
Bruce stood tall with Simpson closing, getting it on for Uze. Johnston.
A lot of players out there look flat to me. They look like they're running up and down in the one spot.
Now Neats. Kangaroos 9-4 all time at this ground. Neats going deep. Robertson, he could have 4 for the quarter.
And that's a beautiful kick by the captain, David Neats. Put it out in front. Very easy ball to run onto, and using the opposite side, using those angles that forwards like to lead into. Easy for the kicker and easy for the guy leading.
How has he got for the year now?
If he goals here, it will be 30 for the season, which would match his entire contribution for 22 games last year, where he missed the top 10 after being the best and fairest the year before. 30 it is. I guess this is what you call a purple patch. 4 goals in 20 minutes for Russell Robertson, and he's broken this game wide open now. And a little bit of push and shove. This is the first sign of any sort of spark we've seen.
Yeah, and it was hardly a bushfire, was it? But Russell Robertson has given us some relief up forward, because Melbourne aren't playing their best footy, but they're playing, you know, they're playing at about 75–80% of their capacity. They're doing it pretty comfortably at the moment. They're in fact giving the Kangaroos a fair belting. Even though it's only 11 goals, they've doubled their score.
Getting ugly for the Roos. 38 points the margin. Hale.
Got it out, play on.
They just need someone to provide them with a lift. Can the skipper do it?
Play on.
Can Shannon Grant provide it? He's got a good ball here for Jones, and that should have been marked. Nothing wrong with the delivery that time. Wheatley stabbing it to Godfrey.
Let it go, Clint. Just there, mate. That's it.
Cameron Bruce just on his own about 50 metres down the track here. He'll end up with this.
Yep. Uze gives it to him, and well held up by Colbert. No, not well held up. It's 50. You could see what he was trying to do, because Melbourne players were going forward. There were a couple loose, but umpire Morris had the whistle.
I'd like to have another look at that one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think what happens there is that for the fact that he wasn't in the contest and he come in and grabbed him. Sometimes they pay them, sometimes they don't. I think that's what it's for.
Yep.
This to extend the lead to 44 points.
Great kick. Went out to the right, just brought it back a little bit.
Well, you said before, Jared, that they're just going on their merry way. This is becoming ugly for the Kangaroos.
Well, I think we all know as players that you get to various stages, you have a huge win, and then it's how well you deal with the win mentally. And at midway through a season, they're all long seasons for all clubs. It's the clubs that can sustain their energy levels and their mental aptitude at the highest level average for the season that end up getting there. And we're seeing wild fluctuations with the Kangaroo side, which makes them unpredictable. But you can't make finals footy unless you can just keep your energy levels high enough throughout the year.
The Demons leading by 44 points, and with no goals today to key forwards Neitz and Holland.
And they're not the only other side. I mean, Brisbane have gone over the west and just been a completely different side to the one trounced by the Kangaroos last week.
Smith for Sinclair. Inside of 2 minutes remaining in what has been a premiership quarter for the Demons, 6 goals to 1.
Well, Dean Adeley said last week that if you could bottle the enthusiasm that they had in Brisbane, you'd be a millionaire.
Well, it was really the rationale behind the question of Paul Gardner at the start. Is it more important for the coach to be a tactical genius, or is it more important for him to coach the minds of his players? And I think as the draft continues to take effect and everything becomes even, coaches are going to be more beneficial if they're master psychologists rather than master tacticians. You can import tactics. You can get assistant coaches that are geniuses at that. It's the people that can control the heads and get people up when they're flat. And I reckon Dennis Pagan is one of the best at it.
Good news for Rudy Webster, whose coaching career may come off.
Could be back.
Could be back.
There's only 4 clubs in the AFL he hasn't worked for.
Here's Shannon Grant, breaking the drought for the Kangaroos. His first.
It was a much-needed goal for the Kangaroos, and really Shannon Grant's been the only forward that has looked dangerous all day.
Just hasn't seen enough of it. Rocker hanging onto the football nicely there for Harvey. Quick hands, clever knock on Jones, and Grant provides the finish. Just.
Once again, the value of low scores, if you think there is any value in it, is that even though the Kangaroos are playing shocking football and they're playing without inspiration and without determination, if you want to use the old term, if they kick 8 goals in a quarter, they can still win.
Which has happened this season. We've seen that they have been, particularly early, the final quarter specialists. Sinclair a high ball. It's not 15. Not in terms of its distance covered. Vertically it had it 15 and then some. Wheatley at half-back now. Ticking inside of the final half minute. And the Roos affect a turnover. Play on is called. Just for the moment, Melbourne on the back foot, but that's a good ball for Johnson. And that should stave off any late Kangaroo resistance.
Talking about the Kangaroos, they have come back from Brisbane. I'm not sure whether that's had an effect on how they feel. Back from Brisbane, then having to come up here to Canberra. They definitely look flat to me.
And Melbourne had the extra day off by virtue of playing on the Friday night. Three-quarter time in Monaco. Melbourne's lead 38 points, 12-11 to 6 goals, 9.
Well, Dean Laidley's on the charge out to the group. He's certainly, the body language suggests he is going to get ugly here with his players. And that's fair enough too, because he's the man who's going to cop the can for this.
Oh, look out. Oh, look out. We'll put it on tape for you, folks. We better not show you live. We'll come back with that in a moment. Three-quarter time in Canberra. The Kangaroos respond to that Dean Laidley, well, burst.
And how will the Demons respond? Because only a couple of weeks ago, Neil Danaher was bitterly disappointed with his charges after they had Carlton on toast and let them almost get back and pinch the game. So maybe Dean Laidley has provided the spark.
One of the better sprays I've seen.
It's good.
38 points the margin. Ferrito. Well, almost sitting on it.
Archer's gone forward. He's being picked up by Wheatley. No. Big Sav's out the back with Jack. And Brent Harvey's down there as well. Thompson as well. They've got plenty of firepower down there. They've got to get it in.
Well, that's right. They've got a much different structure, haven't they, now, to the way they ended that third quarter. There's a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of spark as Ferrito climbs high. But Maloney in the way. Sends Melbourne forward. The bounce of the ball. Going to be interesting. Stevens under pressure. Davey closing. Davey lurking. Still Davey. Nice one for White. And he's drilled it. And that's a backbreaker for the Roos right there.
I'm not sure what's happened to Russell Robinson, but he is down and doesn't look good.
No, he got clipped, and I think well, they're holding his knee, so we'll just wait and see what happened here. But he went down in the run. He was tripped, and he hasn't got up.
You wouldn't want an injury
just there
to Russell Robinson.
Well, he's up.
He's up and about, and he wants to play on because he's kicked 4 goals in this second half as Jeff White running forward with a nice finish.
He just wanted a bit of attention, I think.
Well, let's just wait and see what happens next time he goes to football, because there is the odd knee that you can do. You get an immediate burst of pain.
And then the pain goes away.
And then it goes away. And then if there's instability, we'll know in the next couple of minutes.
Ferrito. Rocker. Well, that's how they played 20 years ago.
Well, you get the ball out of the centre. You just got to go to the big bloke in the goal square. It's an easy game for the full forwards when it's delivered like that. Particularly when you're the size of this man. Have a look at the chest on that bloke. I mean, you just want him in a position where he can use his great strength.
One of those players whose career will be assessed, I think, far more favourably after he has retired. He is right up there with the great goal kickers of the game. This will be career goal number 705. You can mark it in your book right now.
Well, we saw Dean Laidley point the finger at a lot of the big guys at three-quarter time, and really, I don't think you can blame Nathan Thompson or Sav Rocco, because they just haven't got the ball in there with any fluency whatsoever. And when they have gone inside 50, it hasn't been to that 20-metre arc, Jared. It's been to the 50, 45.
Yeah, they've looked to play the possession game and get it forward with the 10s and the 15-metre kicks. Whereas there's the... When I came to the match, I thought that was going to be the real problem for the Demons. Could Big Jack hold Sav Rocker if it was punched into him long enough and often enough?
White again has to wait. Maloney forcing it wide. Johnston. McDonald paddling it on. Interesting play there from Johnston to dive on it. He extricated it for Godfrey, for Maloney. Miller, now Whelan. Going wide. Robertson looking okay now.
Nothing wrong with that knee.
Doesn't look like it. Which is great news for the Melbourne faithful and for the competition, because Russell Robertson is a draw card. And the way that Melbourne went long into their forward 50, I think is a great example of why they're a dangerous side. They never leave, they never have a forward line without at least a couple of options deep.
That's right. Well, coming into this game, we always, you know, that Uze, Neitz, Holland, Robinson, Miller, Green, Davey, Bruce. The list goes on, and they all rotate through that forward 50.
Robertson for number 5. Gets under it, but gets it. He kicked 6 in that win over Carlton. 5 against the Dockers in round 6, and now 5 today.
Kangaroos would like to thank everyone for coming to the footy today, and the official attendance.
Great game by Russell Robertson, and a good game again by Matthew Whelan bringing the ball in. There are a couple of options, but Robbo was one on the burst, the greatest.
Hasn't been one of his spectacular 5 goals, but then again, a handful. You'll take that any day of the week.
The official attendance today, 12,626, so above the Kangaroos' average of 10,900 for their previous 13 matches at this ground. As Harvey gives to Makepeace, goes long, and Rocker's got it again.
Well, if Robinson doesn't kick that goal 1 minute ago, Sav drills this. All of a sudden, the Kangaroos, they get a bit of a sniff. Give them any chance, Jared?
I don't think the Kangaroos have got enough good players at the moment. I think they're still working on the back of a spray. It's not all that deep, the vigour and the intensity in their system at the present time. And I think Melbourne would almost have to leave for the airport right now if they were going to lose this. But if he kicked 3 in a hurry, who knows?
Rocker missing. A letdown. The margin 43 points. The Kangaroos, who, as I mentioned earlier, a victory today, and they would have had a share for second. If they do lose the match, they will be 7th. A real even season. Johnston to bring it back in. To a contest. And Jones gets in the back of Bizzle. And late advantage call, play on. Miller. Centering ball, Neitz going early. Brown the spoil, he's done his job. Colvin, Thompson, Harvey needs support. Wells. Rocker at half back now.
Well, he actually followed Jeff White down. Jeff White at the last kick, he started in the middle. As soon as the first ball went wide, he sprinted to the forward pocket.
Ferrito with the 1%ers, but Melbourne have got numbers. Wheatley playing for the boundary line. And a throw-in.
How long is the centre square?
50 metres.
50 metres. Well, Sav's just kicked that about 70, I reckon, off the half-back line.
Pachoni on for Simpson. White. Now Whelan, he'll be happy for the boundary line as well. $15 minutes remaining. Fox Footy Sunday next week at Geelong as the Cats host the Crows. Ferguson getting a hand to it, waiting down for Rito, trying hard in this final term. Grant well tackled by Whelan. Maloney for Johnston. Look at it, he makes it look easy. Davey under pressure from Makepeace. Now Sinclair bombing it, hoping. And at the back, Melbourne can concede a behind, or Whelan, well, Just about mucked that up, didn't they? 7 straight kicks, the difference.
Well, they relaxed a few weeks against Carlton. There's a real lull come over this game. Neil Danaher didn't want them to finish off this way.
A possible 10-goal win in that Optus Oval farewell was just 3 at the end. Here's Davey for Godfrey. They didn't sing the song after that match at the captain and the leadership group's direction. Colbert, quick hands, Wells, Rawlings.
Wells has spent a lot of the day jogging and walking. And I think his coach is going to have a pretty direct conversation with him at the end of this match.
Good ball for Choney for Grant, and Shannon Grant could make it a 6-goal game.
I think we all started the season with the highest of expectations for Daniel Wells. He was a star last week, and he's pretty quiet today.
Well, his last month before last week, the month before that, wasn't good. But then again, the Kangaroos were also struggling, so you have to take that into account. But
the suggestion was he was going to get dropped, and a player of that talent should not be anywhere near being dropped.
That's right. And the fact, well, last week, half-back flank, no tag, basically able to do what you want.
Good goal by Shannon Grant, his second. 6 goals, the margin, 10 minutes gone, final turn.
And Daniel's just going to have to deal with this issue because he's been blessed with the God-given talents of that a very few people get, and he's going to get the likes of James McDonald following him around like a shadow. And he's got to learn to deal with it because there's no other way around it other than working your backside off. He's got an incredible amount of talent, so he can take marks. He's as quick as anybody, and he's got to just produce on a more regular basis if he's to achieve the superstar status that he could.
13:35 to go. The equation 6 goals for the Kangaroos.
And having said that, he's still just a kid, and he's entitled to have a couple of quiet months as he learns.
Watt affecting a boundary throw-in.
Just on that, Jared, it makes it difficult for a player like Daniel Wells when he's got to or is expected to do a lot of the instigating work. If he was in a Melbourne side that has the depth of talent that they have, you would see, no doubt, Daniel Wells getting off the lead and racking up 30-plus possession games more regularly, perhaps.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if you can do it one week, you're expected to do it another. But it's the jogging and the walking in between the possessions, I think, that his coach won't be all that happy with.
Well, here he goes. He was clever there. He saw the opening after the throw, and he's away and delivering for Harding. They can get one more. Harvey into the forward pocket. Plays on, should goal, does. 2 in a row, 5 the difference.
And all of a sudden, there is just the slightest sniff with the Kangaroos. They're getting the ball into the forward 50 with a lot more ease. And if they can pinch this next goal, they may just make a game of this. Melbourne seem to have relaxed.
Big change for the Demons. Johnston off, Holland on, as you see the free kick.
And as we see Holland come on, he's running around the boundary trying to hide from a Kangaroo player.
Doing a good job with it too.
I haven't seen him yet.
A 6'5" man becoming invisible. Although they've spotted him now. And they'll go and pick him up. Well, let's see what happens in the next couple of minutes. The Kangaroos had 6 to three-quarter time. They've kicked 3 in 10 minutes. And they get the clearance. Archer charging after it. Up, Davey! Spectacular. And he needed to get it too because the Kangaroos were surrounding him. Uze wide for McDonald.
Right there, Daniel, right there.
I'll be happy to run some time off the clock, Melbourne. Bruce.
Thanks, Jess.
Waiting. There's Holland on the lead. He's had just one kick this afternoon. It's a good ball for Miller. And he's off. Low ball, Robertson on the half volley there. Watt. Smith. Got to knock it out. Harvey. Piccioni caught up. A bounce.
Straight up, let him go, let him go. Let him go, David, let him go. Let him go, up.
And umpire McLaren is going to toss this in the air just to try and break it up. And as you see Davies mark again. Umpire McLaren just saying, give me the ball, I'm tossing it in the air. There he goes. He breaks it open. Uze no free. Brown heads for the boundary line. Clock will stop with just over 11:45 to go.
Had the ball, mate. You had the ball.
Still pensive faces behind the glass. Brown for Bruce. Doesn't reach Robertson for Rito. About to be caught. Gone. Holding the ball. Good tackle from behind by Ben Holland. And now he can kick a goal.
He spent some time on the bench, Ben Holland, but he's found it hard to get into the game today. But all coaches like their forwards chasing like that.
Terrific.
And one thing that he has been doing of late is competing very hard. I know that Melbourne have been very happy with the way he competes.
Kicked 5 against the Dockers in his first game of the year in round 6. 11 in total. Trying to add to that now. And from about 40 metres out, he hooks the kick. And the door stays ajar for the Roos.
It's a very relevant point that you brought up there, Wayne. Forward pressure. When you look at perhaps the Sab Rocker prior to three-quarter time, as forwards or as players, when you're not having an impact on a game, you can actually have a significant influence on a match when you're doing those defensive things in a particular match. You mightn't get a lot of the ball, but creating an opportunity like that and not letting the defending side run out is terrific team play.
Kangaroos have got to throw caution to the wind now. Paccioni to midfield. Some one-on-ones around the ground. Archer has Paccioni running for him. Takes it himself, goes to Harvey. Now Rocker slipped at the top of the goal square. Harvey popping it up. Harding. Grant shrugs the tackle. Oh, good spoil by Ferguson.
I'm sure Dean Laidley would love to have a camera above the ground just so he could show his players the difference in their running forward and their running back in its intensity now over the last 5 minutes and for the majority of this match. Because it's just standing out like the proverbial. The difference.
Uze, hurrying ball. Paccioni over Sylvia. Fraction too far out. Lead is on and rewarded. And now, you spoke earlier, Wayne, about the finishing of Lee Harding. And if he kicks the goal here, the margin is 25 points. Still half a quarter remaining.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that he's really struggled to get in the side this year. I think he's a kid that's got, well, he's not a kid anymore, but he's got a lot of potential. And often when he's playing well, he does have a lot of shots at goal. But if there is to be one criticism of him, it is definitely his finishing skills.
He was their leading goal kicker 2 years ago with 33. This the make or break year for him. This for his first goal today, and to keep that door ajar. Has to kick it just inside the 50, and he's got it. It would still be most improbable for them to get up, but with 9.5 minutes remaining, 4 goals is now the assignment.
Yeah, well, that was a nice kick by Lee. Look, when you play on the half-forward flank, as we've spoken about in previous weeks, you might only get 6, 7, 8 possessions. You really have to nail the goals. You have to make the most of them. And if Lee Harding is to play in this side week in, week out, that's exactly what's going to happen. He has to make sure that he nails those goals. Although in saying that today, he's had 16.
Yeah, he's been up the ground a fair bit more today, but the goals are the difference between being a good player and a terrific player for the Kangas.
Gee, Brown did that well. Under some pressure. Johnson goes without it. 9 minutes remaining. Kangaroos closest that they've been since midway in the third. Can they finish the game with some run? Smith, long ball, Archer the target. 1-2 grabs, not the third. Ferrito is working hard. Jones has a chance. He gathers, lines it up. The Kangaroos are closing, but it's a behind. Oh, gee, that might have made it interesting.
Well, Dean Laidley would have to be happy with the effort that they've shown in this quarter, but I have to wonder why it's taken taken a spray at three-quarter time for them to lift their work rate.
Yeah, it's the dual-edged sword, isn't it? They're just confirming to the coach that if they had worked harder in the first three quarters, this would have been a game that they could have won.
They were not switched on. And the finish of Melbourne up forward, diametrically opposed to the Kangaroos. And Jones, who is disappointed he didn't kick that. Good mark, Miller on the wing.
You only have to see players a couple of times move to realise that all things being equal, they're going to be guns. But Jesse Smith is we've all heard about Jesse coming through, and thrilled to just be able to see him move because he's going to be a star for this club.
He's a good
kick,
mover.
A push on the wing. Sorry, Wayne, going the Roos way.
Yeah, no, he's a good mover. He uses the ball well. He nothing like that, although playing in the same position.
Yeah, he's polished, and he looks like just a genuine athlete, but he's got a football brain. You can see he's not flustered.
Ooh, Rocker unlucky there. Melbourne under pressure. Bezel, wonderful kick for Nicholson. Gee, the Roos are working really hard. They've just spotted Melbourne too big a start, it would appear, as the clock winding down for them. Heffernan the footy. Shannon Grant getting involved.
Evidently, Dean Ladley said that there's only 15 spots on the plane home, and those that don't fire in the last quarter are going to do it the hard way.
This to finish it off. Brad Green. The exclamation point for the Demons. Some help for the goal umpire. Green's got his third. At one end, the Kangaroos miss. At the other, the Demons don't.
Well, there's been one player all day that has had the polish and the class, and we just saw it again. They didn't get the greatest of bounces, but was able to recover, and we know that when he gets a shot at goal, he very, very rarely misses.
Yes, ever since, not sure what number game it was, but he hadn't played too many when he absolutely destroyed Carlton in a
qualifying
final, was it?
Kicked four.
Kicked goals that were just memorable on the biggest stage.
Went on to play in the grand final, the losing grand final that year for Melbourne. They got there after beating the Kangaroos in a preliminary final. 7 minutes remaining, 5 goals, and now with that goal will momentum swing back Melbourne's way, and perhaps remembering Optus Oval in the last quarter fade out, will they go and try and add some percentage, although the Roos are going to have it here on the wing. Stevens. Lead to the pocket and rewarded. Rocker now, tight angle. Going to go quickly and centre it.
Interesting kick.
Dangerous. Demons clear, Heffernan. Brown. Now Makepeace. Wells waiting for it on the other side. Grant worked hard to tip it down to Sinclair, and he wins a free and a shot at goal. Jess Sinclair has worked hard today. He's been the game's leading ball winner, averaging 20 touches a game this year. This will be possession number 28, and possibly his first goal as Wheatley hangs on.
Yeah, he'd be one of the Kangaroos' best, if not their best. Having a pretty good year, Wayne, isn't he?
Well, he runs off half-back. He's given a licence. He sets them up. We know that he's a beautiful kick of the football, and he's one of those guys, most sides have them now. He's a very good sweeper, and he can rack the possessions up very, very quickly.
Has kicked just 1 goal for the year and makes it 2. And the margin is 4 goals with 6 minutes to go. And the Kangaroos have now kicked 5 goals this quarter after kicking 6 in the first 3. The Kangaroos next week meeting Richmond on the rebound at the Telstra Dome. Melbourne with a break here on Queen's Birthday Monday against Collingwood at the MCG.
And that's going to be a great match. Collingwood are resurgent. Melbourne are a gun team. There's going to be a full house at that one.
The Kangaroo Richmond game, be a bit of interest in that one too.
Collingwood with wins over the first and second place teams in the last 3 weeks will be meeting a second place team again, it would appear, with Melbourne to enjoy that spot as Jones is dragged back for hanging on to the jumper of Whelan. Stay with us after the game for our digital subscribers. The full press conferences of both coaches and the after-match wrap. Jones just can't do that. Whelan wide to half forward. Grant needs support. Hasn't got it. He's pinged. Didn't have support.
Well, we talked about consistency earlier in the day, and they paid one of those earlier. Good to see. Towards the end of the game, they're still paying them.
And the players are consistent. They always disagree.
Yeah.
And Brett Maloney never wanted to step back from an argument or a confrontation. And it's 50 metres as well. So
lost patience.
Yeah, just when you think the Roos have got a chance and they can string a couple together, they go and give one away.
We'll look for whoever that was against. Look to see where he's running in a very short time, because I'm sure he'll be running to the boundary. I don't think Dean Laidley will put up with that. Just a matter of working out who it was against.
Yeah. Kangaroos will take it. Shannon Grant would appear to be the man. Kangaroos has 4 goals. He kicks it out of the ground.
And that's good to see. Some kid in Canberra will get a footy that he can take home.
So they've got him for free and they've got a footy as well. I'd call that a pretty good day. All part of Foxtel Digital's promotion. Here in Canberra, it's been a terrific day. Not for the Kangaroos, though. Corey Jones has been dragged for his 50-metre indiscretion, and we're still waiting for one more to come off. Best not to look at the runner right now as he comes out.
No, it's a smart move by Shannon Grant. Straight into the centre square. They can't go in there, Clinton. Put that down to experienced kids. There's a lesson. Run away.
Oh, dear. 5 goals the margin then. Late in the final term. Melbourne are going to be second on the ladder at the halfway mark of the season. And very much in the mix. McDonald towards... Oh, Jose nearly plucked it from behind. Archer still working hard. Good hands, Travis Johnston. Again, he'll be among Melbourne's better players and in contention for votes. He'll be their chief ball winner here after this kick or handball. And another good scoring day for the D's after just 6 to half-time. They've picked up the scoring tempo. Robertson, well, he's going to have some bruises to ice on the way home.
Play on.
He's tackling Grant illegally here. Kangaroo free.
Okay, Hunter came in just laying down.
Most of the story on paper relatively even as Colbert and Holland reacquaint one another. Long ball to the outer wing, and Hale, who was the number 7 draft pick 4 years ago, towards half forward here. Rocker had to go one-handed. Harding waiting down. Goal square unguarded. Melbourne should be able to have it covered. Drew Brown happy to concede.
I'm not sure he had to do that.
No, he didn't. But
he could have picked it up and
took the uncertainty out of it.
29 points the margin, less than 4 minutes to play as Johnston stabs it for Nicholson. Sinclair, a fraction high.
That's just a brilliant kick from Johnson. It was 40 metres exactly, and the ball never got more than
about a
8
brilliant
feet.
kick.
Robertson. It's going to be on in the middle because McDonald, the Kangaroo players weren't happy that he got Sinclair late. Sinclair's up with a shade groggy, and Piccioni wants to go on with it with McDonald. White is the peacemaker there. And tempers diffused. No time for anything silly with the game in the books. And Adam Uze, who kicked Melbourne's opening goal 5 minutes in, is lining up for his second.
Well, it hasn't been needed today. He's had a fairly quiet day.
Kick drifting across the face for a behind. Kangaroos to suffer a rare loss on what assistant coach Darren Crocker calls our own little dunghill. Monica Oval in Canberra. And Melbourne's first trip here, a successful one as Wells likes to go wide for Baccioni. Harvey's there to mop up and run. 2 bounces. Rocker charging out after it, and you hear him coming. Archer, well, that's a clever kick. Some shepherding required. Brown, nifty pickup. Unsure of the option there, and it's a rush behind.
Well, as he trots back to fullback, he kicked that like a fullback too.
Yeah, it was an unusual kick. He was kicking around the corner. He only had to just run in and kick a drop punt. He was trying to get it to Nathan Thompson.
Could have taken an extra couple of steps perhaps and steadied as Johnston chips to himself to get another stat. Doesn't hurt. Wells going without it. Sinclair likewise. White's got Godfrey. To Brown. Now Maloney. 2 minutes remaining. Miller.
It's been a pretty good game, Miller.
11 marks.
Continued to work. Keeps presenting.
And Bruce with 11 marks as well. The only 2 in double figures on the ground in that statistical category. Electing to pass to the pocket. Oh, Robbo kept his feet. Baccioni wearing one. Jones targets for Rito. Sinclair, Grant. Rocker waiting. Gone. Slow-moving concrete, I think is the phrase. Baccioni copping a whack to the noggin. As Maloney bombs from 55. And a nice mark by Jess Smith, that if there perhaps is something to come out of the game for the Kangaroos, it may be him.
He's got to go the other side of the goalpost, but he's a beauty, this kid.
Now that
It's going to be a behind. It's going to be a behind. He's 4th game in.
Now that was like that. That's exactly what Ross Smith was most famous for, coming across the pack and taking marks exactly like that.
And lucky they weren't protecting a 1-point lead. Minute to go, 5 goals the margin. Kangaroos led by 2 points at quarter time. Melbourne, though, and after the siren goal, gave them a 13-point lead at halftime. And they set up the win with a 6-goal to 2 third quarter. Smith with another touch. That's 15 possessions. Rawlings going short for Rito. Here he is again. Little fumble. Got it back.
In trouble.
Gone.
And they're the sort of things you learn with a bit of experience. The old blind side, you've got to have it covered.
Still time for the Demons. Johnston still using the ball effectively. Maloney can bomb it long here from 60. Robbo wants a specky, and he's got it.
He's got it.
Well, it was a beautiful kick coming in. And we said that he's kicked 5. Hasn't been all that spectacular, and then he does that.
He wouldn't be happy with that, Robbo.
No, he could have got up a bit higher.
Could have got up a bit higher, but that's why you've got to have blokes like Robbo in the footy and put him in the goal square or near the goal square, because that's where you get 12,000 people to a game.
He lost a point on the landing as well, but he's about to kick his 6th goal. It should come on or after the siren. Melbourne are going to be 2nd on the ladder at the halfway mark, while the Kangaroos will tumble to 7th place. Robbo's got 6, and that's the margin. A 6-goal Melbourne victory. It's 3 in a row for Melbourne now, and it was convincing. And they're 2nd on the ladder, and the Kangaroos, the question marks remain.
Well, it's just a solid effort by Melbourne. They did what they had to do. They just once again confirmed that they're in this for the long haul, and they're in it for, I I think finals footy, the question mark remains over the Kangaroos as to where they're at.
Well, you'd have to say that Melbourne just did enough today, but the Kangaroos looked flat to me. Not sure whether it was going to Brisbane and then coming up here to Canberra 2 weeks in a row, but they definitely looked heavy in the legs and not one of their better games. Not sure where to for the Kangaroos. They've got a big game next week against the Tigers, and the Tigers were pretty impressive against the ladder leaders in West Coast. So big game for the Kangaroos next week.
Yes, I really need to address the intensity, because they didn't bring any to Canberra, and took a verbal spray from the coach to elicit any meaningful intensity. When they produced it, they looked a completely different side. They haven't got superstars in their side on every line, so the only thing that they have to make sure they bring is the work rate, and that wasn't there today.
6 goals to Russell Robertson. He's never turned down an interview, and he won't turn down Wayne Schwartz.
And why would he turn down an interview, Clinton, when he kicks 6 goals? The margin's 6 goals. But, Robbo, more importantly, it's a very dour game, especially up until half-time. But I guess the talent and the depth of this Melbourne side eventually got you guys over the line in an important game.
Well, the call at half-time was going to be an arm wrestle, and it was going to be the team that was the freshest and who wanted the ball the most was going to get the points in the end. And look, at the end of the day, we started to win out of the middle, and that's crucial for us. Our midfielders have been a bit under the pump lately, not winning it out of the centre, and look, we got away from the stoppage as well, and it made it easy for us forwards.
It's a great result given the fact that David Neitz, in his return match, 6 possessions, only 2 behinds, and you've had Adam Uze with 12 possessions, 1 goal, 1. That's the strength of this side, where you're able to have 2 of your better players up forward have quiet afternoons, but yet you're able to get over the line with yourself and Bruce and Green.
Well, good teams have potency up forward, and I remember back when Schwarter and the Wiz used to play down there, and we had lots of avenues to goal, and this year we seem to have that, and that's good for our backs coming through the back line and the mids coming through. They've always got options when they get their head up there, and it's nice to, 1 week be there, and the next week, just helping out, and then the next week you do all right. So that's what it's all about.
Win this afternoon sees you now outright second, 2 games behind West Coast, but sets it up really well going into the break in the second half of the season.
It does. Look, last year we got to the top of that towards the end of the year, and I think we sort of got a bit scared of that. So it's nice to get it early, and we can sort of get used to the fact that we're up there and we're going to win games. And let's look forward to September and that. Oh, hang on.
You don't look scared, Robbo. They're calling for you. Don't sit with me. Enjoy it. Well done.
That's right.